A single dad is driving home in a pounding storm, when out of nowhere, a bride in a torn, mud-streaked wedding dress runs into the road chased by black SUVs. She's breathless, terrified, and begs him to drive. He thinks it's just a runaway wedding. But she isn't running from cold feet, she's escaping the most powerful man in the state, a man who will stop at nothing to drag her back. The single dad hides her in a quiet, small-town inn, but then a little boy tugs his sleeve and whispers a truth that shatters his world. "Mommy says you're my daddy." Now, protecting the bride means going up against wealth, power, and danger while facing a past he never knew existed. How far will one man go to protect a stranger when she might just be the key to saving his own family? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The rain pounded down in relentless sheets, turning the narrow rural road into a slick ribbon of mud and water. Luke McRae squinted through the windshield of his old pickup truck, trying to see past the deluge. The sky was a deep gray, roiling with thunder that echoed like distant cannon fire. He was just finishing up a long day of odd jobs, tired but content. The smell of damp earth wafted through the air as he navigated the winding country road toward home. As he rounded a bend, something caught his eye, a flash of white against the dark landscape. He leaned closer to the windshield, straining to make sense of it through the sheets of rain. Suddenly, he saw her, a young woman in a wedding dress, torn and muddied, stumbling onto the road. Her hair was wild, and her eyes were wide with panic. Luke's heart dropped into his stomach. Instinct kicked in. He slammed on the brakes, feeling the truck skid slightly on the wet pavement. "What on earth?" he muttered under his breath as he brought the vehicle to a stop just inches from her. Before he could fully process what was happening, she yanked open his passenger door with desperate hands and gasped, "Please, driven now." Her voice was urgent and laced with fear. Luke blinked at her for a moment, taking in her disheveled appearance, the torn lace of her wedding dress, hanging by threads and muddy smudges across her arms. She looked like she had run straight out of a nightmare. "Are you okay?" Luke asked instinctively, as she dove into the passenger seat beside him. "I'm not," she started, but cut herself off as another roar of thunder shook the air around them. "Just drive. They're coming." The panic in her eyes sparked something deep within him, an instinct to protect. Without thinking too much about it, Luke shifted into gear and pressed down on the gas pedal. The truck surged forward as she slammed the door shut behind her. He glanced at her out of the corner of his eye while navigating through the stormy chaos. She looked terrified, yet determined as she pointed behind them frantically. "They're right behind us." Luke didn't have time to look back. He focused on keeping control of his truck on this slippery road while his heart raced along with his thoughts. Who was chasing her, and why? "Hold on!" he shouted over the rumble of thunder and howling wind as they careened around another bend. The rain made visibility nearly impossible. Through swirling sheets of water and flashes of lightning illuminating their surroundings for brief moments, Luke pushed harder on the accelerator. His mind raced through possibilities. Was she running from someone dangerous? Why would anyone want to chase down a bride? His instincts kicked in again. They needed to find shelter fast before whoever was pursuing them caught up. "Where do I go?" Luke shouted over another clap of thunder that rattled his bones. "The Maple Arms Inn," she cried out desperately. "Please! It's just down this road." He knew where that was, a small inn at the edge of town that had seen better days, but had its fair share of charm amidst its creaky floors and faded wallpaper. It wasn't far. He could get there if he pushed it. "Hang tight," Luke said as he swerved around an old tree branch that had fallen into their path. The rain continued its assault against their truck, like angry fists pounding against metal, while fear gripped him tightly like a vice around his heart. Each glance at her revealed more details, the way her chest rose and fell quickly with anxiety, and how those wide brown eyes darted nervously towards every sound outside. "They're getting closer," she warned again, almost breathless now. "Stay low," Luke instructed firmly but calmly. As they approached an intersection leading towards town, he took a sharp right turn that sent them bouncing across ruts filled with water. She nodded quickly, pressing herself against the seat while glancing back again just before another flash illuminated their surrounding face, pale yet resolute under sudden brightness, before plunging back into darkness once more. Luke pushed harder on the accelerator again, despite wanting nothing more than for this nightmare to end, for both of them each moment, feeling like an eternity stretched out painfully long by tension gripping every fiber inside him along, with all surrounding noise drowned by rainstorm fury above their heads. Suddenly there came loud honking behind them, a reminder that danger was still very real and alive, just minutes away from swallowing them whole, if they didn't find cover soon enough. "Faster!" she urged him urgently as panic edged into desperation once more, making it clear they weren't safe, yet not even close. "Almost there." Luke reassured, though doubt crept within himself too, alongside disbelief at this situation unfolding before him. Life felt like one crazy dream spiraling further beyond reach, without any control over outcomes anymore. In less than 5 minutes since picking up this mysterious runaway bride, the Maple Arms Inn finally came into view through blinding sheets, falling mercilessly down like curtains, concealing whatever lay ahead, waiting just outside. Sightlines. Relief washed over him briefly, until another round shook everything inside, when bright headlights suddenly lit up behind them. The SUVs were right there. "They're here!" the woman cried out again, panikedly, pressing deeper into her seat while clutching it hard enough knuckles turned white around edges. Luke jerked, left steering sharply toward entrancey, a sign barely visible beneath streams, pouring off roofline overhead, announcing hotel name Maple Arms, flapping uselessly against wind while gravel crunched loudly beneath tires. Rolling. Forward now. With one last burst energy coursing through veins, rushing adrenaline-fueling movements, he sped toward entrance, desperate, hoping doors wouldn't close fast enough behind him, allowing time slip past moments unfolding around, both their fates intertwining unexpectedly, bound together now forever after escaping potential capture just seconds earlier. Braking hard upon reaching open area. Outside main building itself, where parking lot offered no respite from elements threatening ever more relentlessly. But inside seemed sanctuary, glowing warmly, beckoning, invitingly forward, even amidst chaos, surrounding each moment, hanging heavily over shoulders, carrying heavy burdens already weighing, hearts down already left, vulnerable, wide open, exposed beneath looming shadows, lurking outside, waiting patiently, ready strike next, whenever opportunity arose. The young woman sprang from her seat without hesitation, slamming door shut behind before rushing toward front desk, where innkeeper appeared, startled confusion plastered across face, quickly morphing into concern, watching events unfold. Racing wildly past everyone present, while gauging reactions, gathering swiftly aware, something far worse lingered closely, within proximity, vicinity nearby, still waiting unseen within darkness, holding its breath, silently longing release. Unrestricted wherever fate dared lead anyone next. Just then, lightning flashed brightly, lighting up night sky, briefly illuminating silhouettes, moving dangerously nearby, growing closer, until fading away back beyond edges, vision clouded deep within cascading droplets, splattering everywhere. Each second, seemingly extending longer than possible time, ticking slowly, echoing ominously around premises, holding memories tight, securely, hidden, tucked, neatly behind walls, shielding secrets shared among those who frequented spaces over years gone by, each room harboring stories unfolding, constantly rewriting narratives lived throughout history, marked footsteps lingering behind travelers, venturing forward, onward, unknowing what awaited next upon horizon, creeping steadily closer, drawing nearer, every heartbeat resounding stronger, louder, echoing, rhythmically, matching pulses, racing faster, leading everyone directly onto paths, chosen regardless whether desired destination ever reached, eventually finding solace. Amid trials, encountered, searching for hope, flickering dimly, just beyond grasp, often only found wrapped tightly within arms, held close, surrounded comfort, cherished warmth, provided friends, family, strangers alike, united, fighting side by side, till last breath drawn fading softly into night eternal. Luke's heart raced wildly, still thumping hard against ribcage, loudly demanding answers, question after question, dancing endlessly inside, heads swirling together, forming chaotic whirlwind emotions, blending seamlessly, moving faster toward inevitable conclusion, long overdue, asking what would happen next if choices made wrong, turns taken lost, somewhere forever, searching, endlessly, wandering, aimlessly lost, shadows beneath uncertainty looming overhead, like clouds blocking sun, promising brighter days ahead, eventually returning shining light, restored, guiding everyone safely home again. Luke pressed the gas pedal down harder, feeling the truck lurch forward as he maneuvered onto a narrow side road. The windshield wipers squealed loudly, battling against the relentless rain. The sound was almost drowned out by the roar of thunder that seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. The air was thick with tension, and he could feel Jasmine's anxious energy beside him. "Where are we going?" she asked, her voice shaky yet urgent. "Just hold on," Luke replied, glancing at her as he focused on the road ahead. Her eyes were wide with fear, reflecting a mix of desperation and determination. He needed to get them somewhere safe, somewhere out of sight. "Please," she urged. "I can't go back. I won't go back." He could see fragments of her panic spilling out like the rain outside pieces of a story that were just starting to take shape in his mind. "What happened?" he asked quickly, trying to keep his voice calm despite his own racing heart. "Wedding," she started breathlessly. "Billionaire. Had to get away." The words tumbled from her lips in a rush, and Luke strained to piece them together while navigating through the downpour. A wedding? A billionaire? This felt like something straight out of a movie. Yet here she was, sitting next to him in her torn wedding dress, looking as though she had run for her life. "What do you mean a billionaire?" he pressed, keeping one eye on the road and another on the rearview mirror for any signs of pursuit. "He's not who I thought he was," Jasmine said hurriedly. "Brent Caro is? Well, he's not just rich, he's dangerous." She looked over at him for a brief moment before continuing, "I was supposed to marry him today, PR stunt for his company." "A PR stunt?" Luke repeated incredulously. She nodded fiercely. "Yes, it was all planned, every detail, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't be part of it anymore." Luke shook his head slightly as he tried to comprehend what she was saying. This sounded surreal. It felt like they had stepped into some kind of twisted fairy tale gone wrong. As they sped down the muddy side road, trees blurred past them like dark shadows in the stormy twilight. The rain beat down mercilessly, obscuring everything around them except for fleeting glimpses of familiar landmarks that began to slip by a grove of sycamores here, an old barn there. He hoped they weren't too far from town. Every second felt like an eternity with those SUVs possibly hot on their trail. "I had to get away." Jasmine's voice rose again with urgency. "Brent has connections, she uses people, he controls everything with money and threats." Luke felt a chill run down his spine at her words. The idea that someone could have so much power over others was disturbing enough on its own, but knowing that this woman, sitting next to him, was caught up in it, made it all too real. Suddenly, something flickered in his peripheral vision, dark shapes moving fast behind them. His stomach dropped as adrenaline kicked in. They must have found out where she had gone. "Hang on," Luke shouted as he swerved sharply onto another path leading deeper into the woods, not stopping even for a moment to consider where it might lead. He gripped the steering wheel tightly as Jasmine gasped beside him. "I don't know how long we can keep this up," she exclaimed while gripping her seatbelt tightly, the fear evident in her voice. He could see their headlights through the sheets of rain growing closer, now a pack of black SUVs determinedly pursuing them through this wild weather. "Just keep your head down," Luke ordered as he focused ahead. He needed to find somewhere safe, a place to hide until they could figure this all out. Up ahead loomed an old covered bridge, the wooden structure sagging slightly under its own weight, but still standing strong against years of storms and floods. It appeared barely visible through the curtain of rain, nevertheless, it would have to do. There! Luke pointed urgently at it just moments before they reached its entrance and slammed on the brake tires, screeching against mud and gravel before finally coming to a stop inside the dim cover of safety beneath its roof. The sound of their truck echoed within those wooden beams as silence enveloped them, briefly a stark contrast from the chaos outside. Breathing heavily, Luke glanced at Jasmine. Her eyes were wide with apprehension but also filled with something else, relief perhaps? "Do you think they saw us?" she whispered breathlessly. "I don't know," Luke replied quietly as he turned off the engine and let out a shaky breath himself, his heart pounding against his ribs like an anxious drumbeat, but still looking straight ahead towards where they'd come from, waiting anxiously for any sign. The storm raged outside without mercy. Rain drumming loudly against metal roof panels while gusts rattled branches nearby, threatening whatever peace lingered within those four walls surrounding them, now protecting these two unexpected companions from what lay beyond each corner, just outside sightlines, waiting patiently beneath murky shadows cast by fierce elements raging above their heads. Jasmine leaned forward, slightly peering through windshield glass, watching intently towards where they'd entered moments ago, straining to see if any dark figures emerged beyond blur formed by droplets streaking across visibility, blurring edges between clarity, uncertainty, surrounding each heartbeat passed slowly through air, carrying unspoken fears along lingering echoes surrounding vulnerable silence held tightly between two strangers, fighting back unexpected terror lurking within raw truths laid bare. A rumble jolted through heavy atmosphere, reminding both occupants present here moments shared forged together under unlikely circumstances, filled unexpectedly, laden with pressures unknown, hidden within depths unraveling emotional ties. Beginning, tentative formation between their hearts, resting uncertainly, held softly between whispers, traveling through distance, threatening collapse, entire foundation forming here, midst storm chasing them, relentlessly, haunting dark. Undertones simmering just below surface, waiting desperate chance strike. "They might pass us," Jasmine murmured, finally breaking silence that lingered heavily around, now consumed inside this small haven-cloaked shadows, rising quickly, meeting edges, warm light fading beyond. Luke nodded but remained vigilant despite uncertainty swirling rapidly around them, feelings mixed swirling together alongside growing weight, building burden shared openly upon shoulders, cradling heavier thoughts trapped inside souls. Yearning, escape, ever elusive realities pressing close, suffocating deeply, buried hopes beneath waves, crashing relentlessly upon shores, somewhere far beyond sightlines kept hidden securely from view within hearts, longing connect, ever closer, drifting aimlessly, lost seas, vast spaces searching endlessly, needing someone hear cries, escape those desperate pleas. Minutes ticked by painfully slow, while raindrops continued, pouring unceasingly, filling every moment stretched longer under heaviness, gathering weight, increasing shadows, deepening, reaching encroaching, darkness swirling, growing nearer. Consuming brightness, flickering, extinguishing lights, illuminating pathways once vibrant filled. Laughter, joy, love, unfurling petals, blossoming wild, untamed nature, thriving, silently struggling, beneath oppressive pressures birth storms. Raging all around, holding tight, trust between weary souls, finding sanctuary, refuge born together amidst chaos, beyond confines, carved solitude, dreams molded stronger, resilient bonds, forging foundations, new beginnings, rising phoenix ashes, gently cradled, carefully bringing forth hope, resurrected once more, awakening spirit, long dormant, refusing surrender, regardless tribulations, faced, weathered, fought, bravely determined embrace, destiny, crafted hands, willing journey unite. hearts becoming more than once thought possible. Overcoming fears, insecurities, yielding strength. Discovered deep hidden valleys, depth searching, illuminate corners, still cast darkness, shielding, allowing hearts break free. Transformation. Unfurl wings, lift soar, skies painted brilliant colors, possibility woven threads, threading golden sunlight, spilling warmth across landscape, calling, inviting, awakening, tenderness, flourishing, vibrant melody, played softly background lingers. Nurturing warmth, blooms, blossoming life, anew, brightening days unfolding slowly, revealing treasures, concealed, finding ways nourish souls, carried currents, shimmering, embracing, alive, thriving, freedom, breathing, gentle fresh air, breathing. Deeply filled promise, whispers carried gentle breezes, echoing unbroken melodies, whisper sweet assurances, soothing raw edges, roughened weary souls, softened embraced, soft embrace, long yearned returning sweet solace, bringing home feeling, enveloped warmth, wrapping snug, reassuring comfort, nurturing hearts, cradled deeply, lovingly forever, holding dreams unfolding, possibilities, bright, shining ever near close horizon, beckoning forth joyous adventures, awaiting patiently ahead. Suddenly, headlights broke through, heavy mist, illuminating clearing near entrance, bridging connection between worlds, lingering past, uncertain futures, promising brighter tomorrows, lingering love, boundless lifting, spirits soaring free. Exploring horizons opened bright endless paths, winding journeys revealing unseen marvels, wondrous waiting. Travelers brave enough seek, embark, quest, discovery, unlocking secret doors, guarded, protected, countless stories, whispered, shared. Twinkling stars, beckoning adventurers, homeward drawn fate, weaving tender threads, stitching souls together, always belonging. Never alone gathered courage, strength, perseverance, discovering ways forge onward, traversing paths, bright future awaits, illuminating open arms, waiting, welcome, arrive, whole, forever, joined friendships, formed lasting treasures, unfold, flourishing, beauty, connecting woven lives, thread, tapestry, precious gifts, given freely. Heart joining, spirit enriching, lives shared, embracing gift, offered warm love, unconditional, deep. In that moment, under pressure, swirling, uncontrollable forces, raging, furious, darkened skies, painting struggles etched intimately across canvas, painted fierce, vibrant strokes, brush, embody resilience, kindled, gentle sparks, hope everlasting. Promised, bright, enduring. Luke turned off the narrow road and headed toward the Maple Arms Inn. The rain continued to pour down, creating rivers along the edges of the dirt path. He felt a mix of anxiety and urgency. This was not just another day at work, this was about saving a life, about keeping Jasmine safe from someone who clearly had power and influence. As they approached the inn, memories flooded Luke's mind. He had spent many happy moments here with his late wife, sharing laughs over coffee and planning family gatherings. The Maple Arms Inn held stories of joy and comfort, but today it would serve as a sanctuary for someone on the run. "Are we almost there?" Jasmine asked, glancing around as if expecting to see Brent's SUVs around every corner. "Just a little further," he reassured her. "I know someone who can help." She looked at him with both gratitude and apprehension. "Who?" "Rosa," he replied simply, feeling a pang in his heart as he thought about his old flame. Rosa Santiago had been part of his life long ago, before duty and loss had swept him away into another world. He parked the truck behind the inn, out of sight from the road. The heavy rain drummed against the roof like a warning as they stepped out into the damp air. Jasmine hesitated, glancing back at the road where they had come from. "Come on," Luke urged gently, extending his hand toward her. "You're safe here." Taking a deep breath, she took his hand and followed him inside. The warmth of the inn enveloped them like a cozy blanket as they stepped into the lobby. The scent of freshly baked bread mingled with a hint of lavender from the cleaning supplies Rosa used to keep everything sparkling clean. Rosa was in the small office by the reception desk when she heard the door open. She looked up just as Luke entered with Jasmine behind him. Her brow furrowed in confusion at first, then her eyes widened with recognition. "Luke?" she said softly, surprise lighting up her face. "Rosa," he replied warmly, but quickly glanced back at Jasmine, whose expression mirrored uncertainty. "What's going on?" Rosa asked, concern creeping into her voice as she took in Jasmine's disheveled appearance, the torn wedding dress smeared with mud and soaked from head to toe. "This is Jasmine," Luke explained hastily. "She needs help." Rosa stepped forward immediately, sensing that something serious was unfolding. "Help? What happened?" Jasmine took a deep breath and started to explain while Luke held her hand for support. "I ran away from my wedding," she said quietly, almost ashamed to admit it out loud despite her bravery. Rosa nodded slowly as she listened carefully to Jasmine's story how she had felt trapped in a marriage that was more about appearances than love, how Brent Caro's controlling nature had pushed her to flee in desperation. Luke watched Rosa's expression shift from confusion to understanding and compassion. He could see that Rosa was processing everything quickly, making connections that only someone who cared deeply could do. "We need to get you out of those clothes," Rosa finally said firmly after hearing enough. "Come with me." Jasmine hesitated for a moment, but then nodded gratefully as Rosa led her down a hallway lined with pictures of smiling guests enjoying their stay at Maple Arms. In moments frozen, in time that now felt distant compared to what was happening right now. As they walked through the inn's cozy interior, the rich wooden floors creaking slightly beneath their feet, Jasmine couldn't help but feel comforted by Rosa's calm presence, despite her chaotic situation. Rosa opened a door leading to one of the spare rooms where staff often changed clothes or rested during shifts. "This should be safe for now," she said gently while gesturing for Jasmine to step inside. Once inside, Rosa quickly rummaged through some uniforms hanging in a closet until she found something suitable, a pair of dark slacks and an oversized button-up shirt that would hopefully hide Jasmine's torn wedding dress beneath it all. "Here," Rosa said as she handed over the clothes along with an old sweater for warmth too. "Change into these while I make some tea." "Thank you," Jasmine whispered, feeling overwhelmed yet grateful for this unexpected kindness. As soon as Rosa left to prepare tea in the kitchen area nearby, Luke stood by the doorway, watching quietly, a protective guardian ready to jump into action if needed, but also filled with admiration for both women before him. One fighting against an oppressive situation, another offering help without hesitation despite having her own history with him lingering unspoken between them. After several minutes, filled only by sounds of rustling fabric and quiet footsteps within their small sanctuary room, Luke caught sight of Jasmine emerging, clad in staff clothes that transformed her look entirely, the change giving off an aura of newfound strength amid vulnerability, instead of being just a runaway bride, hiding from danger, now visibly bolstered by solidarity. With this community member willing to protect her without question. "You look much better," he exclaimed sincerely, as he noticed how much more relaxed she appeared now, compared earlier, when first stumbling into his truck, confidence creeping back slowly, though still shadowed by worry, lining those delicate features framed by wet hair now tucked neatly under borrowed attire, fitting snugly around curves, not merely meant for concealment alone anymore. "Thanks," Jasmine smiled faintly before fidgeting nervously with buttons on sleeves, trying hard, not showing fear looming overhead like dark clouds outside, still threatening rain, never letting up completely. However, lightening moods sparkled through conversation shared amongst friends, finding comfort within each other's company even when storms brewed all around them outside. Rosa returned shortly, carrying 2 steaming mugs filled fragrant herbal tea. It smelled soothing, a blend, designed just right enough take edge off worries momentarily, while inviting warmth settled deeper inside weary hearts, longing rest after days spent running away, living uncertain lives, uncertain futures ahead. Always waiting around next corner, lurking menacingly, yet never entirely visible until too late sometimes. "I hope this helps," said graciously, offering mug toward both ladies, then giving gentle squeeze shoulder, reassuring them they weren't alone anymore. No matter how daunting challenges might appear right now together, fighting alongside one another, created bonds stronger than any circumstances could sever apart easily. Jasmine accepted tea, gratefully wrapping fingers around warm ceramic cup, feeling grateful tears threatening spillover, yet wanting keep composure intact. She met Rosa's kind gaze, filled understanding affirmations, passed silently between women coming together, navigating worlds, filled contrasting struggles, yet finding ways bridge gaps, stand firm against adversities together, embracing courage unknown before this moment, allowed themselves share hearts openly, trusting each other completely, which always came hardest, especially when faced overwhelming odds stacked against survival. Meanwhile, Luke observed, quietly proud, seeing both resilient spirits unite, forming alliance, forged out love, empathy, instead, animosity, fueled fear, ruling lives. Many others experienced, often wanting hide, darkness instead, bring light wherever possible, shining brightest corners, otherwise lost forever, if left unchecked, standing bold, brave, despite risks taken, battling fears, even most intimidating threats, without hesitation, willing embrace difficult paths, no matter what outcome awaited, just knowing, fighting necessary, worthwhile, ultimately bring hope, healing lives, all involved, proving worthwhile, every effort made, bringing peace, tranquility, sooner rather than later, after storms passed, clearing skies, revealing brighter horizons, waiting patiently beyond immediate horizon line, drawing near, beckoning onward, inviting journeys anew, waiting blossom seeds sown yesterday, flourish, growing beautifully together, making world better place through acts. Kindness, gentleness, courage, compassion, allowing truth shine bright, illuminating darkest shadows, cast previously, gone unnoticed, hidden depths, found shared stories, told, building bridges, connecting souls, intertwined histories, shaping futures, shared, lovingly, creating legacies echoing across generations, touching hearts, far-reaching ripples, everlasting marks left behind, reminding everyone good exists, always prevailing over evil, fighting long hard battles, eventually leading brighter tomorrows, filled promise, possibilities, endless. Luke stepped back into the kitchen, shaking off raindrops from his jacket. He glanced around, taking in the familiar sense of home-cooked meals and fresh-baked goods. His heart was heavy with concern for Jasmine, but also full of hope that this refuge could give her a moment to breathe. "Hey, I grabbed some sandwiches from the pantry," he called out as he set down a platter on the small wooden table in the cozy dining area. The rain continued to patter against the windows, providing a soft backdrop to their tense gathering. Jasmine sat at the table, wrapped in one of Rosa's oversized sweaters. She looked more relaxed than when Luke first found her, but her eyes still held shadows of fear. Rosa poured steaming cups of tea, and Luke couldn't help but feel grateful for her presence. They needed each other now more than ever. "Thank you," Jasmine said softly as she reached for a sandwich. "I didn't think I'd be able to eat." "You need to eat," Luke replied gently, sitting across from her. "It's been a long day." She took a small bite and chewed slowly, lost in thought. Luke watched her with concern. She had risked everything by running away from Brent Caro. A billionaire who hid behind charity work while manipulating others for his gain was someone who would not take her escape lightly. "I know this must all seem strange," Jasmine finally said after swallowing hard, "but I had no choice." Her voice quivered slightly as she looked up at Luke. "What do you mean?" he prompted gently. "It's just, Brent has this image he wants everyone to see," she explained, looking down at her sandwich as if it held all the answers. His wedding wasn't about love or family, it was all for show, a charity wedding to cover up what he really does. What do you mean? Luke asked again, leaning closer. What does he do? Jasmine hesitated, looking into Luke's concerned eyes before continuing. He pretends to help migrant workers by donating money to organizations that support them. Her voice grew stronger as she spoke about the truth she had hidden inside for too long. But behind closed doors, he exploits them. He pays them poorly and threatens anyone who speaks up against him. Luke felt anger swell inside him at Jasmine's words. It twisted like a knot in his stomach. The world could be so unfair, sometimes wealthy people like Brent, wielding power over those who were simply trying to make a living. Brent kept me quiet, Jasmine continued passionately, gaining confidence with each word she spoke. He wanted me to marry him so I wouldn't expose him. It was supposed to be a picture-perfect wedding where everything looked right on paper while his real intentions lay hidden beneath. Tears welled in her eyes as she shared her pain. That's awful, Luke whispered, shaking his head slowly as if trying to wrap his mind around the depth of what Jasmine had just shared. She took another breath and pressed on through her emotion. I saw too much during my time working with those families, how they lived in fear because they were undocumented. She glanced up at him with intensity in her gaze. They deserve better. They are good people trying their best. Luke nodded vigorously. He could feel anger bubbling inside him toward Brent Caro for exploiting vulnerable families like that. I tried telling my boss about it, a nonprofit I worked with, but Brent made sure they dropped me. Her voice cracked slightly as pain surfaced again from recalling how easily people turned their backs when money was involved. What will happen now? He asked quietly. I don't know, she admitted softly, wiping away a tear that slipped down her cheek with the back of her hand, before taking another shaky breath. He'll stop at nothing until I'm under control again. At that moment, Rosa entered the room, carrying a tray of cookies she had baked earlier that day. They were warm and fragrant, making Luke's mouth water instantly. Look what I brought, Rosa announced cheerfully, setting down the tray and lifting spirits despite the weight of Jasmine's story lingering heavily between them all. Thanks. Jasmine managed a small smile, as she wiped away remnants of sadness lingering on her face, while reaching for one of Rosa's cookies eagerly, before looking back at Luke again, with wide eyes full of worry. But really, what will happen? If Brent finds me? Rosa caught part of their conversation and sensed tension hanging thickly in the air, the storm outside, only amplifying it further, like something dark looming overhead, ready to strike without warning if they weren't careful enough. She stepped closer and leaned against the kitchen counter thoughtfully before speaking up carefully. You have to understand something about Brent Caro. Her tone shifted from cheerful hospitality into serious wisdom filled with concern wrapped in kindness. His reach is long. Luke felt chills race down his spine. There was something terrifying about hearing Rosa speak those words aloud, the reality sinking deep within every crevice left unguarded by hope alone. What do you mean? Jasmine asked apprehensively, while still holding on to one half-eaten cookie tightly between trembling fingers like it might shield her from danger, somehow protecting herself within layers made out of sweetness instead. Rosa hesitated before continuing carefully. Brent doesn't just control businesses or public perception, he controls people too. He uses money not just as power but also threats, Rosa continued slowly while locking eyes firmly onto Jasmine's now wide-open expression, reflecting fear mixed with confusion like freshly drawn paint spilled across an artist's canvas, waiting desperately for resolution amidst chaos unfolding nearby. I've seen it happen firsthand, Rosa revealed earnestly while glancing towards Luke, who remained silent, absorbing everything being said while contemplating deeply how they would proceed forward together united against such an adversary looming over them all. He makes deals that leave people trapped. They sign NDAs, or are given financial incentives meant only to silence dissenters. Luke felt anger building stronger within him. A sense of determination fueling an inner fire, igniting courage, hidden behind years spent burying grief, deep down below, alongside lingering regrets about not being brave enough previously. Rosa continued sharing knowledge, gathered through experience collected over years, spent watching silently from afar, even when emotions threatened, spilling forth loudly whenever injustices occurred around town, unnoticed by most until it was far too late. People fear losing everything, including their livestock, someone like Brent Caro. Her voice lowered intentionally now, growing steady yet firm, the resolve, burning brightly through fearlessness, shining brightly across features. Illuminated beneath dim kitchen lights, giving way towards clarity emerging unexpectedly amidst uncertainty. Still hanging overhead, reminding them both what they face together today. So if you think hiding here will keep you safe forever, well, her tone shifted once again, becoming softer. This time, revealing vulnerability. Too often masked behind strength projected outwardly, instead revealing compassion, emanating freely, despite circumstances weighing heavily upon hearts interlinked. Tightly bound together, seeking solace amongst strangers, turned allies, battling evil forces, threatening harmony, everywhere across this little community. "You'll need help fighting back," she added quickly, hoping sparks ignited within each heart, daring them not shy away from embracing whatever comes next, even if it means risking more than ever before. Jasmine listened intently, processing every word spoken, understanding deeply why running alone wouldn't suffice anymore, especially knowing too many innocent lives hang precariously balanced right alongside hers as chains tightened. Mercilessly round, delicate wrists, shackled together, unable free themselves, without guidance, provided willingly by those courageous enough willing, lend strength, needed forge paths toward brighter tomorrows, filled joy, hope, untainted greed. Festering, endlessly unchecked beneath surface lies hiding darkness, waiting prey upon unsuspecting souls, wandering lost forever, unable break free bonds, holding tight, suffocating under pressure created constantly spinning world-fueled. Ambitions rooted greed, manipulating fates, leaving trails, destruction behind broken dreams, scattered lifeless along road-paved illusions, leading nowhere worthwhile. And we can find ways around him, Rosa assured firmly, locking gaze directly onto both Jasmine and Luke, now filled passion, igniting courage needed unite, stand firm against inevitable challenges, looming ahead, swiftly approaching, recklessly charging forth, unwavering. Commitment, supporting one another, fighting hard, refusing succumb, pressures faced daily, confronting evils, corrupting goodness, finding strength within, harnessed kindness, rising above, negativity, thrumming louder, alongside beating hearts. Yearning, thrive alive, flourish abundantly together, through darkest moments, illuminated sparks, illuminating pathways, filled laughter, love, everlasting friendships, formed, forged, solidified bonds, standing resolutely strong, nothing break. Apart, especially those who cared deeply, collectively, serving purpose, united always. The next morning, soft light filtered through the Maple Arms Inn window. The rain finally ceased, leaving a fresh scent of earth. Luke lay in bed, gazing at the ceiling while faint sounds of the inn waking up drifted to him, footsteps in the hallway, creaking doors, and Rosa humming her morning tune. The notes floated gently through the air, a familiar melody that wrapped around him like a warm blanket. But an unease gnawed at him, replaying his conversation with Jasmine from the night before. He couldn't shake her urgency or fear as she spoke about Brent Caro's power. She had escaped a gilded cage, but how long could she stay free? Luke rolled over and stared out the window. The sun peeked through the trees lining Maple Street, casting soft shadows on the ground below. He wanted to feel hopeful, like the dawn breaking after a storm, but fear gripped his heart. What would Brent do to Jasmine if he found her? He pushed himself up and swung his legs over the side of the bed, letting them dangle for a moment. A light breeze drifted in through the window, carrying with it scents of blooming flowers and fresh grass. It should have felt refreshing. Instead, it felt heavy with unspoken tension. After getting dressed in a worn pair of jeans and an old flannel shirt, he made his way downstairs. The smell of breakfast wafted through the air as he entered the dining area. Rosa stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with ease, while humming that same tune from earlier. "Morning," she greeted cheerfully without turning around. "Morning," he replied, forcing a smile despite feeling like a weight sat on his chest. "Coffee?" she asked, as she turned to pour him a steaming cup from a nearby pot. "Yes, please." He took it gratefully and watched as she added fresh berries onto a plate piled high with golden pancakes. "You're up early," she commented lightly. "Couldn't sleep?" He shook his head slowly as he leaned against the counter. "Just thinking." Rosa paused for a moment before setting down her spatula and meeting his gaze with concern etched across her face. "About Jasmine?" "Yeah," Luke admitted quietly. "I can't help but worry about what Brent might do." Rosa sighed softly and crossed her arms over her chest as if bracing herself against an incoming Storman-appropriate metaphor for their situation. "You know he's not just some rich guy who gets told no easily." "I get that." Luke ran a hand through his hair in frustration. It felt like an endless cycle of fear, spiraling into deeper uncertainties, each passing moment spent considering their next steps together. Rosa looked away toward one of the windows overlooking Maple Street. Filled with life, the gentle bustle of morning commutes, beginning again outside, but something else lingered within those surroundings too. Familiarity wrapped tightly around both safety and danger, intertwined together seamlessly, now beneath rising sun, casting warmth upon them all. "What are we going to do?" Rosa finally asked quietly, concern lining every word spoken thoughtfully. Trying break past barriers formed by hesitation, hung thick between them both. "I don't know yet," he replied honestly, after pausing briefly, attempting gather scattered thoughts, swirling within tangled webs, formed due confusion, without clear answers. Available ahead, even knowing time slipped quickly away, like grains pouring through. Fingers grasping tight around impossibilities, found lurking deep down below surface pain, hidden away too often, unheard, left alone, stranded desperately waiting, hopefulness restored. They shared an uneasy silence then. Each lost inside individual thoughts, fighting battles played out silently, only visible within expressions, exchanged neither. Knowing fully how best confront growing challenges ahead, directly looming before them, steadily approaching. Closer. Suddenly, his phone buzzed on the bedside tableau, sound cutting through their shared moment like lightning flashing brightly across darkened skies above breaking tension held tight. Luke glanced at it uneasily. Unknown caller ID blinked menacingly against background noise filling. Room-full sounds, faded memories, echoing past conversations, reverberating softly inside, hearts burdened so much, already faced recently. He sensed instinctively that this was important something, telling him it couldn't wait any longer either. So taking deep breath, trying calm racing heart beneath rising anticipation, beginning build slowly up inside, already simmering, emotions. Bubbling over, feeling raw, exposed, suddenly beneath bright sunlight, illuminating truth hidden away. "Hello?" he managed, after finally answering. Holding phone firmly against ear, hoping voice remained steady, despite uncertainty. Creeping back into every corner within mind, not entirely sure what expect next. "Mr. McCrae?" said a smooth voice on other end. Sounding formal but distant, lacking warmth, too often present among friends, speaking comfortably together, sharing moments, laughing joyfully amidst struggles endured, bravely overcome daily tasks, faced unafraid, no matter what happened next. A long road taken ahead, challenging times, yet awaiting each choice made throughout journey, unfolding gracefully. Still stretched before everyone willing embark upon brave paths, unknown searching. Desperately seeking solace where none existed before. "This is Carter Whitman, from Caro Enterprises," came response smoothly, delivered devoid emotion altogether, drifting aimlessly further, disconnecting Luke further, creating distance, amplifying feelings, discomfort lurking nearby. Luke felt his stomach clench tightly, now realizing who this was, and suddenly everything began making sense. Falling quickly into place where pieces fitted neatly, alongside unspoken truths, lurking quietly just beneath surface, waiting. Desperately unleash chaos, ready, strike, any moment, bringing turmoil cascading down swiftly upon them all, regardless precautions taken attempting protect precious lives, worth saving far greater than riches could ever provide. "What do you want?" Luke replied. Unable hide edge, slicing sharply across voice, harshly exposing underlying tension, woven deeply between words, exchanged, rattling painfully from tongue. Moving forward, navigating turbulent waters, always challenging, yet unavoidable, despite strongest desires wished desperately silenced. "Brent would like to make you an offer," Carter stated clearly, purposefully, aiming straight towards core issues presented up front, maintaining professionalism rather than emotions. Encumbering proceedings, ongoing drawing attention, directly instead preventing potential distractions. Risking chance, taking advantage, offered freely, seeking help once again, righting wrongs encountered headlong, straightway diving deep, directly beneath surface, discovered previously buried secrets, tucked neatly away, hidden behind lavish lifestyles, extravagant displays, luxury concealing, corruption, thriving, dangerously, close fueling, fires roaring, unchecked underneath, waiting, patient hearts, broken, burned, unable rebuild foundations, shaken, crumbling, dangerously, threatening collapse, ever more struggling, regain footing, lost during battles, fought bravely, only halfway there, yet wishing desperate yearning, fulfill promises, given almost forgotten, long ago. Luke clenched his jaw, feeling anger, surging inside him, surging forth, threatening boil, over-demanding immediate response. Articulate, powerful enough shake foundations created before reclaim integrity, rooted firmly deep, held strong, resistant. Even strongest storms experienced rising up, faced relentlessly, crashing waves, crashing hard, still standing strong, unwavering, unwilling, surrender, vulnerable positions, sought after far too long, having worked diligently, protect those nearest, dearest, sacrificed, comfort, clingingly fighting hard against odds, stacked hopelessly high, remaining steadfast, nurturing dreams, wanted, breathe, freely, again, alive. Once more, free spirits, longing, embrace new adventures, begun leaving chains behind, bound, shackled, forgotten prisons, hiding, stolen moments, cherished, little miracles, spark life anew, yearning, grow wings, soar beyond horizons, unknown forever, searching, reaching, endless possibilities unfold freely, waiting open arms, welcoming warmly, finding rest, home among hearts, gathered, bound, close together, refusing fall apart, divided, daring, overcome adversity, faced simply seeking brighter tomorrows, together side by side, hand in hand, embracing struggles, intertwining. Stories, woven carefully, joined paths meant cross, intertwining, beautifully shaping futures, unfolding ahead, beckoning softly toward promised lands, overflowing love, acceptance, laughter, joy, harmony, finding peace, residing inside souls. Blossoming, joyously, flourishing, everlasting connection shared eternally. Nestled within breaths, lingering tender whispers, echo gently amongst dreams, rekindled kindling passions, flaring fiery hope, igniting brightly shining rays bursting forth, illuminating darkness, gathering courage, rising boldly onward, carving paths leading toward futures, bright where joy shines brightly, enveloping souls, gently surrounding hearts, joining laughter, ringing true, reverberating loudly, fiercely. Everywhere, reminding, never give power outside oneself. Discovering depths found deep-rooted connection. leading healing, forging forward, steadfast, resolute, anchored deeply love, blossoming brighter days drawing near. I'm listening, he finally replied, allowing guarded walls. In the lounge of the Maple Arms Inn, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sweet aroma of pastries that Rosa had laid out on a small table. The room felt warm and inviting, filled with mismatched chairs and soft sunlight streaming through the windows. Pastor Etta Brooks, with her silver hair pulled back into a tidy bun and her round glasses perched on her nose, stood at the center of it all. Around her gathered a handful of church ladies, each one full of kindness and purpose. They whispered among themselves, sharing ideas and solutions for how to help Jasmine. Their chatter filled the space with an air of excitement mixed with concern. "Now, we need to think quickly," Pastor Etta said, her voice calm yet firm as she looked around at the group. "Jasmine is in danger. We have to provide her with not just shelter but a way to communicate and protect herself." Mabel, a plump woman in her 60s who always wore floral dresses, nodded eagerly. "I can run home and grab some clothes for my granddaughter. She has some lovely things she doesn't wear. Any more things that would fit Jasmine just perfectly." "Great idea," Etta replied, smiling warmly at Mabel's enthusiasm. "We need to make sure she feels comfortable while she's here." "Maybe I could bring over some extra blankets," suggested Helen, a tall lady whose laugh was as big as her heart. "We want Jasmine to feel safe." As they spoke, Luke leaned against the doorframe, watching this small army of compassionate women rallying together for Jasmine's cause. He felt his heart swell with gratitude. These women were not just church ladies, they were warriors in their own right. Pastor Etta turned her gaze towards him, sensing his presence. "Luke," she called softly, "come join us." Her tone was inviting yet commanding enough to pull him from his thoughts. He stepped forward into the cozy space, feeling a mixture of hope and anxiety swirling inside him like a storm cloud ready to burst. "How can I help?" he asked. "We need your perspective on what Jasmine might need," Etta said gently. "You've seen what she went through. You understand better than anyone how scared she must be right now." Luke nodded slowly, trying to gather his thoughts amidst all the emotions swirling around him. "A phone would help," he suggested after a moment's pause. "Something prepaid so no one can track her." Etta jotted down notes on an old notepad that had seen many years of service in community meetings and planning sessions. "And clothes," he added thoughtfully. "She'll want something more normal. Something that doesn't scream, 'Runaway bride.'" "I've got clothes," Mabel chimed in again before he could finish his thought. She smiled proudly at Luke, as if it were an honor to be part of this mission. As they brainstormed ideas for cover stories, Luke felt something inside him begin to shift, an ember of hope, igniting in the shadows of uncertainty that had loomed ever since he'd met Jasmine. He watched as each woman shared their thoughts and ideas. Their dedication warmed him like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. "All right, everyone," Pastor Etta said after jotting down several suggestions from everyone around the table, "let's organize ourselves." The women broke into pairs and set off on their tasks. Mabel went home for clothes, while Helen volunteered to collect blankets from another church member nearby who had extra supplies stored away in their attic. Luke lingered for a moment longer before stepping aside to call Rosa over. She had just finished pouring herself a cup of coffee when he caught her eye. "What do you think?" he asked quietly as he gestured toward the bustling group of women moving about with purpose. Rosa took a sip from her steaming mug and smiled warmly at him. "They're amazing," she replied softly, watching them too for a moment before meeting his gaze again. "Pastor Etta knows how to mobilize people like nobody else." "They really care about Jasmine," Luke observed, feeling his shoulders relax slightly at seeing such support spring up around them. "They care about all of us," Rosa added gently but firmly. There was strength in her words that matched her nurturing spirit. Just then, Pastor Etta clapped her hands together loudly enough for everyone's attention to turn back towards her again. "Ladies, I have an idea." The women paused, mid-task, as curiosity spread across their faces like ripples in water. "Let's give Jasmine a cover story, a reason for why she's here, if anyone asks." She looked around earnestly at everyone present before continuing. "How about we say she's visiting family? Maybe staying here until things settle down?" The group murmured in agreement. They began exchanging stories they could use about distant relatives or old family friends, all innocent explanations that would protect Jasmine without putting anyone else at risk. "I can say I'm helping out my cousin who has been sick," Mabel suggested enthusiastically, while twirling one finger thoughtfully under her chin. "Perfect," Pastor Etta replied approvingly before turning back towards Luke once more, as if sensing his lingering worry still weighing heavy upon him. "Luke," she began kindly, but assertively, now looking directly into his eye, her voice warm, yet unwavering. "You must also know it's okay for you to lean on this community too." Luke swallowed hard but nodded slowly. Acknowledging that was easier said than done when everything felt so tangled right now. The tension from Caro's threats still gnawing away, inside him, alongside concerns about protecting both Jasmine and Maya, who deserved more than what life had handed them thus far. As discussions flowed through practical logistics regarding what clothes fit best or how best approached questions they anticipated might come up if outsiders came snooping around, the atmosphere transformed into something lighter-filled. With laughter mingled alongside tender-hearted compassion, that flicker within himself started growing stronger, the warmth, radiating outward, drawing others closer, even amid turbulent circumstances outside those four walls surrounding them. All here today. Eventually, making sure they covered every angle possible, a plan began taking shape. The vibrant hum resonating within made Luke breathe deeper, realizing he was not alone. Any more hope flickered brightly between every pair of hands, readying themselves for whatever came next along this path forward. Later that afternoon found everyone buzzing back together once more, filling up bowls laden with comforting soups prepared by Rosand. Those delicate pastries topped off everything else, sweetening up their gathering. Naturally, it became clear during these moments, shared amongst friends, transformed friends into family, here at Maple Arms Innovan, if none officially claimed any blood ties beyond simple kindness, passed along where it mattered most. After lunch, settled down nicely amid laughter, erupting between volunteers, reminiscing fondly about times gone past. Etta proposed a quick prayer, asking God for guidance, while also lifting Jasmine up directly, hoping she would find peace. Amongst all current upheavals, life threw toward them, and after saying, "Amen," Luke noticed something within each face surrounding him glow brighter than before. A fire kindled. An unstoppable drive propelling each woman present toward achieving unity behind such beautiful cause. With errands finished by late afternoon, a new sense settled over Maple Arms Inn itself, marking itself noticeably different than merely hosting guests. As people emerged from rooms seeking comfort, it brought an undeniable strength, collectively resonating throughout its walls, leaving behind worries while empowering each other instead, whenever needed most. Once night began falling gently against sky-painted twilight hues outside, draping across fields, lined tall oaks nearby, welcoming quiet stillness, blanketing everything beneath stars, twinkling overhead, shining brightly without hesitation. Either feeling grateful after watching everything unfold, successfully, all collective hearts uplifted together, transforming hardships faced previously, yet managing rise above thanks, mostly due efforts put forth hand in hand, bringing strength found deep-rooted among these incredible souls, intertwined within humble surroundings they created. Later, once night fellas, lights flickered warmly, inviting closeness, wrapping its tendrils around, gathering safely tucked within friendly embrace. Reassuring voices hummed low echoes, filled up hallways, drifting gently into rooms tucked far away upstairs, echoing peacefully across wide corridors, untouched since last opened days ago. Later, still finding time alone after preparing meals, setting dishes aside, stacked neatly across tables. Clattering together, he returned upstairs, quietly retreating into silence, longing restfully lost, somewhere deeper within reflection. Pondering all unfolding day surrounding battles faced ahead. That evening proved quiet though, uneasily, stretching tautly alongside doubt, creeping along edges, tightening fears woven tightly, pulling apart threads, stitched ever tighter, stitching together. People unlike those forced together outside. Struggling through storms, waging wars, seeking refuge, anywhere. Found rather familiar resting grounds away, briefly escaping dangers, lurking just beyond reach. While glancing over messages blinking steadily across screens held tightly between fingers, holding tight, wanting connection, they calmed frantic hearts, growing heavier. Nightly whispered, promises longing embrace. This held strong. Compelling essence, unshakable weaving roots, tightly knit, threaded along, intertwined destinies, meeting unexpectedly, lighting paths long overshadowed. Before heading off, heading Betty by soon finally ready. Tucking comfortably close under soft covers beneath moonlight, seeping gently flooding, surroundings framing intimate corners, brightly illuminating what lay ahead when outspilled. Sudden text incoming, vibrantly lighting screen amidst night. Be bold, Dad. Those simple words echoed roundly, piercing shadows, standing firm, igniting warmth, swaddling, encasing, stirring hopes flowing forth, renewed light emerging, freshly kindling, bright visions, rising anew, sweeping through uncertain tides, crashing bravely upwards through straining will filling breathlessly. Once more, onward, boldly, steady, forward, strengthening, resolve, building, steadfastly, supporting dreams, newly rekindled, blooming beautifully, taking shape, blossoming vivid colors, illuminating skies, anew, painting night, starry above, scattering seeds, sprouting fresh hope, everywhere waiting, ready, only requiring courage, step forth boldly, carving own destiny, embracing truth wholeheartedly, living love deeply. Always. The next morning, a warm glow blanketed sleepy Maple Street. Yet inside Maple Arms Inn, a different storm brewed. Luke McCrae woke to his business phone's sharp ring, dread pooling in his stomach as he answered. "Hello?" he croaked, bleary-eyed. "Is this Luke McCrae?" A gruff voice snapped. "You'd better give that runaway bride back before you regret it." "Who is this?" Luke's heart raced. "Just a concerned citizen. Hand her over or else." The line went dead. Luke froze, disbelief flooding over him. What had he gotten into? He swung his legs off the bed and rubbed his face, glancing at Jasmine, curled on the couch in Rose's oversized sweatshirt. Despite her disheveled hair, she radiated quiet strength. Luke had never met anyone as fierce, yet fragile. He tiptoed into the kitchenette for coffee, trying to shake the cold chill from the call. She had fled Brent Caro's grasp, only to find herself entangled in a life with its own complexities. What if Caro's reach extended further than they feared? After finishing his coffee, he looked at Jasmine again, who stirred but remained asleep, perhaps escaping into dreams far away. He knew he could no longer keep the truth from her. Sensing his turmoil, Jasmine opened her eyes slowly. "Good morning," she said softly. "Morning," he replied cautiously. "How did you sleep?" "Like a rock," she smiled, but concern quickly shadowed her features. "What's wrong?" He hesitated, then chose honesty. "I got a threatening call about you." Jasmine's eyes widened. "What did they say?" "They want you back," Luke explained, rubbing his jaw for calm as he detailed their life's upheaval. "They think I'm holding you against your will." Panic surged in Jasmine's chest, igniting familiar fears from days past, but now darker. "I didn't want to cause any trouble," she whispered, tears threatening to spill onto her cheeks. "You didn't cause this," Luke assured, stepping closer and placing a soothing hand on her shoulder, both of them caught in chaos unraveling around them. Suddenly, the phone rang again, persistent and relentless. Luke hesitated, mindful of Jasmine overhearing more threats, opting to let voicemail catch whatever awaited next. Unease settled deeper within him, glancing outside as townsfolk began their daily routines, oblivious to the looming danger surrounding Maple Street. Moments later, A soft knock broke their uneasy silence. Luke motioned toward Jasmine, a silent urge for reassurance. When he opened the door, familiar warmth flooded in. Nettie June stood there, arms crossed, expertly balancing pies stacked high. "Nettie June!" Luke exclaimed, relieved to see her friendly face. "Don't think I'll let y'all sit alone wallowing," Nettie chirped as she pushed through the doorway, balancing the pies like everyday tasks despite the heaviness enveloping them. She placed the plates of beautifully baked treats on the table, noting the tension lingering beneath their smiles. "They've got no idea who they're messing with," Nettie declared, handing out slices of pie and evoking family traditions that had long woven through generations. "If they want to fight," Nettie continued passionately, drawing everyone's focus as they listened, wrapping warmth around their hearts against the cold winds outside. "We'll stand united," she urged, her fierce words igniting strength, fostering resilience, and guiding them toward brighter futures hidden within shadows. Everyone gathered closely, laughter and sweetness blossoming around the shared pies, reinforcing connections transformed as they celebrated life and unity. They savored laughter and delight, emboldening each other with smiles, a reminder of the power of community, where hope flourished and burdens became lighter through shared joy and authenticity. The night enveloped Maple Arms Inn, where weary travelers found solace. Inside, the laundry room hummed with warmth, the washing machine's rhythmic lullaby mingling with the scent of fabric softener. Luke McRae stood by the dryer, folding sheets, lost in thought about picking up Jasmine and the chaos that followed. Images of news reports flashed in his mind. Runaway bride abducted. He wrestled with the reality of protecting his family amid confusion. The local news had painted him as a villain, but he knew he was doing what was right. Jasmine deserved to be heard. She was not just a runaway bride, she was a woman fighting for truth against a powerful man. "Dad?" A small voice broke his concentration. He looked to see 6-year-old Tomas at the laundry room's entrance, hair tousled and eyes sparkling with curiosity. The child's pajama shirt hung to his knees, making Luke smile. There was something innocent about Tomas that warmed Luke's heart during these troubled times. "What's up, buddy?" Luke set down a folded sheet and wiped his hands on his jeans. "Can I help?" Tomas stepped closer, shyly. "Of course. We could use some tiny hands around here," Luke grinned, patting the clean linens piled high on the table. Tomas joined him but hesitated, looking up at Luke. Can I ask you something?" "Anything," Luke said, kneeling to meet Tomas at eye level. He felt a wave of affection wash over him as he brushed a few strands of hair from Tomas's forehead. Tomas fidgeted with his shirt hem for a moment before asking, "Are you going to get in trouble for helping Miss Jasmine?" Luke's heart sank at the question. The world felt heavy on his shoulders. He opened his mouth to reassure the boy, but found it difficult to find words that would soothe both their worries. "I hope not," he finally said slowly. "But sometimes doing the right thing can lead to trouble." "Like when you help people?" Tomas asked, eyes wide with curiosity. "Exactly," Luke replied softly. "Helping people is always worth it." Tomas nodded seriously and then pointed to a stack of sheets waiting to be folded. "Can I help with those? I'm really good at folding." A chuckle escaped Luke's lips as he handed over a sheet. "All right then, let's see how good you really are." With enthusiasm bubbling inside him, Tomas grabbed one corner of the sheet and started folding it awkwardly but earnestly. His little fingers worked hard as he imitated how Luke had folded the other, screeding neat rectangles that didn't quite match up but held their own charm. As they folded together in companionable silence, thoughts swirled in Luke's mind. Like leaves caught in an autumn wind. How had things spiraled so quickly? One minute he was just trying to live life day by day after losing his wife. Now he was caught in this whirlwind of media attention and accusations. "Do you think Miss Jasmine will be okay?" Tomas broke into his thoughts again, glancing up through lashes long enough to catch any hint of worry on Luke's face. "Yes," Luke said firmly, even though doubt lingered within him like shadows hiding from light. "She's strong and brave. But she looks sad sometimes," Tomas observed thoughtfully, while carefully arranging another sheet on top of its companion pile. "She does," Luke admitted quietly. "But sadness is part of being brave, too." Tomas tilted his head thoughtfully, as if processing this new piece of information while folding another sheet, clumsily, yet with earnest effort. Each time their hands brushed against one another over the Linensa reminder that they were sharing this moment together, it filled Luke's heart with warmth and purpose amidst uncertainty. "I want her to stay here forever," Tomas declared suddenly, breaking through their comfortable routine of folding clothes once more. His earnestness pierced through whatever fog clouded over them, like beams of sunshine breaking through heavy clouds. Luke paused mid-folding as he studied the boy's innocent face illuminated by warm light from above, a reflection not only off freshly cleaned linens, but also shining from pure affection for someone who had quickly become important in their lives despite circumstances beyond their control. "I know you love her already," he said gently, letting out a small sigh filled with both pride and trepidation at what lies ahead for them, all including Jasmine herself, who deserved better than what Brent Caro offered her world-wise grasping hands, filled only with riches yet devoid of care or kindness toward those around him, like precious jewels tucked away beneath glass, without meaning beyond their worth alone, rather than celebrating stories behind every individual they represented instead. "But what if she has to go back?" Tomas asked softly, glancing down again at the pile, now growing steadily taller beside them, both now that they were working side by side together, diligently folding sheets like experts, despite how young he truly still was. Luke inhaled deeply, as sadness surged within him like waves crashing upon rocky shore shard, yet beautiful moments melding into one another without end. Always challenging him, while nurturing love. To his daughter Maya, holding fast beneath layers too great to fathom beneath turbulent waters, never knowing where they might lead next, either. "I'll do everything I can so she doesn't have to go back," he promised finally, after finding words worthy enough from within himself, deep down inside the conviction, lending strength, not only echoing between father and son now, but becoming something larger altogether, wrapped tightly around hopes rising high above despair, waiting patiently amidst storm clouds, gathering far off into tomorrow, waiting ever closer still. Tomas seemed satisfied by this answerven. If uncertainty lingered heavily still surrounding them both, even amid comforting tones woven between shared laughter, filling each fold, made brightly colored fabrics laid out across wooden surfaces. Below, like bright rays breaking free anew over gray skies waiting patiently above. "What about your big daughter?" Tomas asked suddenly again, breaking through distractions, easily anew, unearthing concerns much deeper than fabric softeners swirling around their heads, currently filling rooms entirely brimming softly behind closed doors, meanwhile keeping troubles concealed, firmly underneath. "Maya," Luke repeated, gently appreciating how earnest questions came spilling forth freely without reservation, flowing endlessly onwards. He thought fondly, remembering evenings spent under stars when laughter echoed across fields grassy wide. Sprawls offering safety, reminding everyone who wandered past endless pathways unfolding ahead, brightening spirits, renewed feeling, lighter than air. "Yes," he chimed eagerly, clutching tightly onto each new idea, sparking inspiration for adventures, awaiting, always seeking more light everywhere else. Alongside whispering trees swaying gently, providing music alongside currents, breathing warmly into every heartbeat, strumming loudly through walls, too thick shielding dreams close gathered quietly, hidden from prying eyes, lurking darkly beyond edges, framing life unfolding fully before them all. "Well," a sigh escaped him deep once more before answering, weighing choices, ponderously lingering between past hopes, unfulfilled meeting, future paths, uncertain, opening wider, brighter each moment, expanding endlessly thereafter, beckoning outwards, beyond borders, unexplored completely yet undiscovered, still, yearning, always forward, growing wings, flight longing, true exploration, taking root deep beneath skin, reaching upward, breaking free, wild as dreams unravel. Boldly unfolding, leaving trails sparkled, bright tracing, back memories kept alive, warmly alive today, leading onward towards tomorrow, carrying precious promises forward, endlessly unfurling destiny, ever unfolding onward still. Maya wants me happy, he smiled fondly, picturing tender moments shared endlessly, listening closely, soaking deeply, inspiring. Trust held close, nurtured right, building bridges between places where safety existed, reaching back, bringing peace, lasting, ever since shaping futures, inviting kindness, blooming freely around, despite whatever fears raged outside, breathing fiercely, stoking flames burning brightly above, shielding warmth surrounding friendships formed along journeys. Weaving together, history's shared uniting hearts, striving toward deeper understanding, shared knowing, loves spread wide, nourishing goodness, growing stronger, deeper forging connections, essential allowing freedom blossoming along threads. Wrapped tight underneath layers, creating warmth, spreading peace, reaching wide surrounding lives, intertwined embracing, each unique story told, carving pathways etched clearly visible upon open spaces, marking hearts' journeys onward. Further, down lines drawn leading always toward love, a waiting calling loudly, vibrant bright calling, warmly beckoning nearer promising returns, glowing brightly reminding everyone, lost searching, trusting, finding belonging, healing rising alongside. Truth spoken freely, no longer hidden anywhere away, trapped inside murky waters, swirling desperately around. Lives lost yet, seeking shelter, sweet hope, floating strong, inviting brighter tomorrows, guiding waves, ever pushing onwards, forever. Moving deeper shores towards solace, lifting souls high, soaring higher, far off, until everything feels calm, again resting easy, no longer worrying, weighed down, crushed, burdened, hiding, simply being oneself, finally emerging, finding purpose. Fulfilled, discovering hidden strengths surfaced, found willing, believe, lifting arms, stretching wide, embracing limitless possibilities, endless skies, soaring forever, chasing stars. They're friends who care about me very much, he smiled, remembering last hugs exchanged, feeling comfort, settled deep, nearby soothing heavy-hearted souls, long tethered firmly between realms torn apart, yet anchored, firm eternally. Wrapped within bonds, forged carefully, formed richly, promising infinite joy, overflowing warm hearts, shared cherished everlasting connections, precious gifts kept alive, stronger than mere presence, gifted countless times blessed. Beautifully. I don't want Miss Jasmine sad anymore, the little boy announced, boldly affirming weighty truths. Neither could deny, looking straight into adult eyes, steady, unwavering, brightened, fierce innocence, blazing forth, calling on strength, never backing down courage, blossoming fearlessly, shining vivid light, igniting shadows, lingering still, casting darkness clear away, revealing truth, brought life anew, unfurling fresh hope, brighter journeys, paving way step by step, forward, radiantly illuminated. No one should feel alone. Both agreed, resolutely determined, resolve, renewing quietly, infusing spirits across invisible lines, created entwined anchoring paths, sewn closely, stitching lives, linking hearts, tight, trusting, nurturing joy, giving rise, healing, sharing, warmth, illuminating brighter spaces, cultivating friendships, endlessly boundless aspiring horizons, full flourishing fruit, ripening bountifully everywhere, welcoming adventures, eternal uncover stories, shining bold threading along, seeking souls' longings, yearning, grow, flourish, grow alongside, rise, rebuilding. Just then there came footsteps shuffling toward them, drawing closer, bringing familiar scents, wafting deliciousness, wafting subtly soothing undercurrents, washing over spaces, gently brushing familiar sounds, home-comforting tenderness carried. Winds swirling, invisibly casting warmth, radiating, touching, gathering brightly, illuminating depths, rich comfort flavors, offering delight, shimmering embrace, welcomed wildly whole, inviting joyous laughter, embracing moments cherished dearly. Coming round, building foundations, safely warm, shelter cultivating grounds, enriching worlds, established nurtured, forming legacies, born anew, deeply rooted shaping future, opening timeless blossoms, bearing fruit gift, wrapped lovingly, gently, releasing sweetest joys held dear. Early morning light bathed the Maple Arms Inn, warming the porch steps. Rosa Santiago stood outside, sipping coffee, the soothing chirps of birds, and a gentle breeze signaling a fresh day. She breathed in, relishing the aroma and warmth as a myriad of thoughts swirled within her memories of Luke, Tomas, and the uncertainty ahead. Footsteps on the floorboards drew her attention. Luke approached, his rugged features softened by the dawn. Shadows under his eyes hinted at sleepless nights, weighed down by burdens. "Morning," he said, stepping onto the porch. "Morning," Rosa smiled, though nerves bubbled beneath. "I brought some coffee." "Thanks." Their fingers brushed as he took the mug, an electric spark igniting between them. They sat together on the steps, their bodies angled as they gazed at the garden, wildflowers swaying in the breeze, a moment heavy with unspoken words. "Tomas, what he said last night, hit me hard." Luke broke the silence. Rosa nodded, her heart tightening. "I didn't mean for him to tell you like that." "I understand. You were scared. Scared I wouldn't accept either of you." His gaze drifted away, burdened by buried memories. Rosa bit her lip, the sturdy steps beneath her, contrasting with their fragile connection, their past, choices, and future. "Luke, you have a right to be angry for keeping this from you," she said cautiously. "I'm not angry," he replied gently, "just confused. You deserve clarity, after losing your wife, raising Maya alone." He ran a hand through his hair, a familiar sign of tension. "And now there's Tomas." "Yes," she admitted, "he's part of both of us." A weighty pause lingered as they faced this shared truth, their responsibilities expanding unexpectedly. "Do you think he's ready?" Luke asked quietly. Rosa chuckled lightly, more nervous than anything. "I think he's been waiting for this moment longer than we know." Luke's demeanor grew serious, his eyes probing deeper into hers. "I want to do right by him, by you." Hope flickered between them, a fragile candlelight in long-standing shadows. "What do you want?" Rosa asked tentatively. "I want to be part of his life, part of yours," Luke answered, leaning in slightly. Her heart raced at his words as warmth spread within her, illuminating possibilities. "I've always thought about what could have been," Rosa confessed. Luke furrowed his brow, sensing her struggles. "What would that even look like?" "It starts with trust and honesty," she replied steadily. "About our past, about Tomas, and us." Luke absorbed her words, hope mingling with uncertainty. "There are things I regret, but keeping Tomas's paternity secret wasn't meant to hurt you. It was for his protection." His brow relaxed slightly, a glimmer of understanding emerging. Both had made choices sparked by love, yet twisted by pain. "Rosa," he hesitated, the weight of silence between them heavy, until he finally broke it. "We'll find ways to navigate forward together." "We can take it slow," Rosa suggested, focusing on what they could achieve without fear, taking one step forward toward a better future, forging new family bonds. The sun climbed higher, illuminating the Maple Arms Inn, each beam brightening the shadows and promising hope. Later, Maya McCrae shifted nervously outside as sunlight filled the inn, anxiously scanning for familiar faces. "Tomas!" she called out, fascinated as she spotted him running through vibrant flower beds toward the welcoming entrance. His laughter sparkled with youthful curiosity, embodying innocence. She rushed down the steps on a vibrant green lawn, eager to connect. "Tomas!" she shouted again, excitement bubbling over as she approached. He crouched, examining something among the leaves, a picture of delight and curiosity. "Maya!" he finally shouted, happiness reflected in his surprise, joyfully reaching out. "Maya!" she exclaimed, crouching beside him. "Look what I made!" She held up an intricate ring crafted from a juice carton, showcasing her creativity. Tomas looked at it, excitement glowing in his eyes. They shared a moment of innocent delight, a bond woven through laughter, narratives treasured together. In that vibrant garden, the essence of childhood and possibility flourished, revealing hope for their intertwined futures, hand in hand exploring life's adventures. Jasmine took a deep breath as she stepped into the clinic. The walls were painted a soft green, and bright posters of healthy habits adorned the waiting area. It was quiet except for the soft humming of machines in the background. Luke walked beside her, his presence a steady anchor in the storm of emotions swirling inside her. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, glancing down at her with concern etched across his face. She nodded, determination sparkling in her eyes. "Yes. If we're going to expose Brent Caro's wrongdoings, we need proof. This clinic is a starting point." Luke pushed open the door to the back room, where they often met with Dr. Patel, the clinic's director. As they entered, a nurse named Clara looked up from her desk, her dark hair pulled back into a neat bun. "Hey, you two!" Clara greeted them with a warm smile. "What brings you here today?" "Hi, Clara," Jasmine said, returning the smile. "We're looking for any evidence we can find about unpaid bills for injured workers." Clara's expression shifted slightly, her brow furrowed with concern but also recognition. "I have something that might help you," she said slowly. Luke stepped forward. "We need to gather as much information as possible about Caro's treatment of migrant workers, especially those who have been hurt on the job." Clara nodded and stood up from her desk. "Follow me." She led them through a narrow hallway lined with pictures of smiling families and children playing at local parks. As they walked, Jasmine felt a mix of anxiety and hope. Every step brought them closer to uncovering truths that needed to be shared. Clara stopped at an office door and opened it wide, revealing a small room filled with filing cabinets stacked high. "These are records from the last few years," she explained, pulling out one of the drawers. She rifled through papers until she found what she was looking for, a thick stack of invoices. "Here it is," Clara said, handing Jasmine several sheets filled with numbers and medical terms that seemed overwhelming at first glance. Jasmine scanned through them quickly. Her heart sank as she read about numerous unpaid bills for treatments rendered to workers who had suffered injuries while working for Caro's companies. The accounts listed cases of broken bones, sprains, and other injuries that had gone untreated due to lack of payment or follow-up care. "They deserve better than this," Jasmine whispered fiercely. Luke glanced over her shoulder, his jaw tightening as he absorbed the details laid out on the papers before them. "These people were hurt while working hard just to provide for their families," he said quietly but firmly. Clara nodded somberly. "And many have been afraid to speak up because they fear losing their jobs or facing deportation." Her voice dropped lower, as if sharing a deep secret that had burdened her conscience. "We need these invoices copied and ready for when we go public," Jasmine declared, resolve filling every word. "I'll help," Clara replied immediately, gathering additional documents that highlighted similar cases and promised immediate support when it came time to fight against Caro's tactics. As they gathered more files and discussed potential testimonies from other workers who had been treated unfairly, Jasmine felt excitement bubbling inside Hera, feeling that maybe they could finally bring change. After spending what felt like hours sifting through paperwork, they left the clinic armed not only with invoices but also hope for justice, a feeling that felt distant not too long ago. As they walked back toward their truck, parked outside under a cloudy sky threatening rain again, Luke turned to Jasmine with pride evident in his eyes. "You did great in there." "Thanks," she said shyly, but couldn't hide the smile creeping onto her lips. There was something powerful about knowing they were working together toward such an important cause. They climbed into Luke's truck just as raindrops began falling softly against the windshield again. A gentle reminder of nature's unpredictability, yet another moment calling them to act courageously, despite uncertainty looming overhead. With determination driving him forward now more than ever before, Luke headed toward Pastor Etta's house, a cozy little cottage adorned with flowers spilling over window boxes where community meetings often took place amidst delicious scents wafting from Etta's kitchen. Upon arrival at Pastor Etta's home shortly after pulling into her driveway, lined by blooming bushes, bursting forth in shades of lavender and white blossoms, reflecting summer days long past the air, was filled not just with floral notes, but also an inviting aroma reminiscent of homemade soup, simmering away within its confines, hearty ingredients mingling perfectly together alongside comforting spices meant to warm both body and soul alike. Pastor Etta welcomed them warmly at the door like she always did her embrace, wrapping around both their shoulders as if promising safety from all storms ahead, realizing how significant this moment would become. "Oh, you two look like you've been through quite an adventure," Etta exclaimed cheerfully before ushering them inside, where vibrant light streamed through large windows, illuminating colorful fabrics, draping every corner comfortably. Mismatched chairs beckoned everyone towards friendship around sturdy tables set beneath cheerful chandeliers above each meal, shared amongst loved ones gathered close by. "Can I get you anything? Water? Tea?" Pastor Etta offered sweetly, while setting down heavy pots laden with fragrant broth, already bubbling along near stove, tops the warmth enveloping every inch around like grandmotherly arms, offering solace after hard days spent laboring elsewhere far beyond familiar grounds surrounding Maple Street. "No thanks. We actually have some important news," Jasmine started eagerly, determined resolve spilling forth from every word spoken now. "Well then, let me finish ladling out some soup first, before you dive right in. You know how hungry people can get when gathering together. Plus, nothing beats good food alongside good conversation." Etta chuckled lightly, while deftly dishing hearty portions into bowls, awaiting grateful hands, eager enough already anticipating delectable flavors filling stomachs soon enough. With every scoop dropped carefully into each bowl held by eager guests, waiting patiently nearby, already engaged, chatting cheerfully amongst themselves over tales told countless times, shared lovingly throughout years spent growing together as stories intertwined seamlessly, revealing pieces not just past, present, futures. Intertwined beautifully like patchwork quilts, sewn carefully hand-stitching memories along stitches, revealing warmth, love, faith, strength. Resilient lives forever changed, united forevermore. As Etta served everyone around large tables laden heavily, Nettie June appeared bustling through doorway, carrying multiple containers, packed full bubbling soups, steaming fragrant enticing aromas, filling spaces entirely. Laughter echoed warmly around drawing. More folks inside effortlessly invited, warmly welcomed without hesitation. Entering spaces felt safe, inviting close togetherness, formed naturally bonds forged stronger, still alongside friendships, cultivated throughout trials faced collectively. Jasmine watched as people settled in finding seats, comfortably ready, absorbing conversations, flowing freely. Accompanied laughter amidst joy, reflecting connections made deeper each time, nourishing spirits collectively igniting flames. Brighter, brighter, lighting paths, moving forward, embracing challenges, fought daily, rising higher, daring rise against injustices, encountered bravely, unyieldingly, refusing silence when voices cried, heard beyond whispered, hopes softly spoken. Hearts pounding, yearning change, seen finally arriving dawn, breaking bright futures, promising endless possibilities unfolding ahead, shining brightly within lives, newly renewed, reborn, rebirth, present miracles, beginning unfold. While Nettie ladled soup, generously serving others, bringing joy, warmth everywhere served. Tales poured forth, illuminating shadows, hidden dark corners swept away. Simply listening, witnessing lives, lived, battling day-to-day challenges faced bravely. Hearts shining brightly, courageous stories shared woven seamlessly. Drawing everyone closer. Connected, always alive, never alone, lifted, supported, united, believing change, possible, moving forward, standing strong, firmly resolute, remaining steadfast faith, carrying shining bright truth together, unveiling hope. Amidst darkness, guiding light, healing, nourishing souls, touching hearts, uniting purposes, resolutely determined, drive forward, reaching endless horizons, flourishing beautiful life journeys, stretching infinite roads leading toward greater tomorrows, awaiting discovery, fulfilling dreams envisioned. Dared dream journey begun. Boundless, limitless, passions embraced, passionately. Ignited newfound paths, uncharted, awaiting exploration, embracing destiny, lovingly, hand in hand. Joining heartbeats, echoing wildly welcoming, changes once feared, turned promise becoming reality, blossoming freely into lives, renewed always anchored, secure, steadfast faith love, radiating power, forever burning bright blazing trails. Illuminating pathways, extending gracious invitations, welcoming, embracing journey onward, onward, ever onward. As laughter echoed, sweet melodies harmoniously weaving between friends gathered round, seated sharing meals, intimate conversations, transforming surroundings, welcoming, creating sanctuaries, joy, kindness, acceptance, belonging, enveloped, embraced across generations, reaching deeper, uncovering memories, treasured, bearing witness, growth, struggles, pain, turning victories, dreams manifested, unfolding triumphantly, witness becoming bold assertions, belief soaring, high, inspiring, everyday acts, bravery, reminding each individual, remarkable, worth, divine purpose, immeasurable. Jasmine felt the weight of the world lift slightly as she walked out of the clinic with Luke. They had just gathered a mountain of evidence against Brent Caro's exploitation of workers, but her mind was still racing. She had a crucial piece of the puzzle left to find: an old thumb drive filled with incriminating emails that could expose Caro's true intentions. It had been in the hands of a friend who worked at Caro's foundation, and Jasmine needed to get it back. "Are you sure your friend will help?" Luke asked, as they climbed into his truck. The engine rumbled to life, cutting through the quiet afternoon air. "I hope so," Jasmine replied, her heart pounding with anticipation and nerves. She's been uneasy about how Caro operates for a while now. If I can convince her that this is bigger than her job, she might give it to me. Luke nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "Then let's go." They drove toward town, rain clouds, still lingering overhead, but starting to part. Sunlight broke through occasionally, casting golden rays on the road ahead. As they approached the foundation's sleek building, Jasmine took a deep breath. "Remember," Luke said as they parked, "if things get dicey, just call me." Jasmine smiled softly at him. "I will." With one last reassuring glance exchanged between them, she stepped out of the truck and walked toward the entrance. The lobby was bright and modern, filled with artwork that showcased various community projects funded by Caro's foundation. But beneath the polished surface lay an unsettling feeling, an undercurrent of pressure and expectation that hung in the air like a thick fog. Jasmine approached the reception desk, where an assistant sat typing away on her computer. "Hi, I'm here to see Michelle," she said cheerfully. "Do you have an appointment?" The assistant barely looked up from her screen. "No," Jasmine admitted hesitantly, "but I really need to talk to her about something important." The assistant raised an eyebrow but finally nodded and pressed a button on her phone. "Let me see if she's available." Moments later, Michelle stepped out from an office down the halle. Petite woman with bright red hair tied back in a bun and glasses perched on her nose. "Jazz," she exclaimed with a smile that quickly faded into concern as she noticed Jasmine's anxious expression. "What's going on?" "Can we talk privately?" Jasmine asked urgently. "Sure." Michelle glanced around before leading Jasmine into her office. The room was small but cozy, decorated with framed photos of happy families who had benefited from their programs. "What is it?" Michelle asked once they were inside, closing the door behind them. Jasmine took a moment to collect herself before speaking. "I need your help about those emails you told me about." Michelle frowned slightly as if trying to remember their last conversation about Caro's business practices. "I don't know if it's wise for me to get involved," she replied cautiously. "I understand your fear, Jasmine said gently but firmly. "But what Brent is doing is wrong. He exploits people who work hard just to survive." Her voice wavered as passion bubbled up inside her. She took another breath and added softly, "We can't let him continue hurting others." Michelle glanced down at her desk as if weighing her options carefully. Finally, she sighed heavily and leaned closer to Jasmine. "I do have access to those emails, but I don't know how much I can share without getting in trouble myself." She hesitated again before continuing cautiously. "If I give you the thumb drive, there's no going back." "Please," Jasmine implored. "You'd be helping so many people who deserve better than what he gives them. You could make a real difference." Michelle looked conflicted for another moment, before finally nodding slowly. "Okay, but we have to be careful." She opened a drawer in her desk and pulled out a small thumb drive wrapped in a piece of cloth, like it was something precious or dangerous. "This has everything," Michelle said quietly as she handed it over to Jasmine like it weighed more than just detail. It held secrets that could change lives forever. Jasmine felt tears prick at her eyes as she accepted it with trembling fingers. "Thank you," she whispered sincerely. Before leaving, they exchanged quick plans about how they would proceed once they had everything together. The evidence gathered from Clara at the clinic, mixed with these emails, could bring Brent Caro down once and for all. As Jasmine stepped back into Luke's truck moments later, she held up the thumb drive triumphantly, the golden key to unlocking justice hidden within its tiny casing. Luke turned his head quickly when he saw her face light up with hope again after feeling so heavy earlier that day. "Did you get it?" he asked eagerly. "Yes," Jasmine exclaimed excitedly as she held up the thumb drive like it was treasure found after an arduous quest. Luke smiled wide enough that his eyes sparkled. Then he reached over and squeezed her hand gently for encouragement, before starting up the engine again, a promise of support shining between them, amid uncertainty swirling around their mission ahead. "Now let's get this duplicated so we have backup," he said determinedly. As he turned onto Main Street toward Pastor Etta's church office nearby their safe haven, amidst turmoil unfolding outside its walls each day through protests against injustice faced by local workers whose stories would soon break free from silence binding them for far too long now. Once inside, Pastor Etta's modest office, lined with bookshelves, crammed full of tomes, both sacred and secular alike, and scattered mismatched chairs pulled together from years gone past, they settled at one end while other church members milled around, rehearsing songs nearby in joyful voices, drifting down hallways sprinkled with sunlight, pouring through stained glass windows. Above, Luke set up his laptop on Pastor Etta's sturdy desk, while Jasmine paced restlessly beside him, glancing nervously toward where sweet melodies echoed down corridors, ringing hopeful notes around every corner, chasing away dark shadows lingering close behind. "This should only take a few minutes," Luke assured, as he plugged in the thumb drive, carefully handling it like glass, ensuring nothing broke under pressure surrounding them. Jasmine watched intently, while anxiety knotted tighter within, but also faith flickering somewhere deep inside that somehow this would work out well enough for everyone involved. As files began transferring smoothly across screens illuminated by blue light filling otherwise dark spaces surrounding each person present tonight, she stole glimpses toward where choir practice continued uninterrupted, humming along joyous tunes, rising steadily like birds, soaring high above trees, reaching out towards sunlight, waiting patiently upon branches farthest away, hidden beyond sight, even though every song floated down whispering sweet promises, echoing timeless truths, felt warm against skin, stretched taut, while anticipation surged stronger, every heartbeat thrumming louder, matching rhythm, swelling underneath weightless joy, spilling forth alongside shared laughter between friends, gathering together, singing praises, blending harmonies, lifting spirits higher above struggles, tethered firmly grounded here, below where kindness rooted deeply alongside fierce courage, pushed boundaries farther until hearts dared dream boldly without fear. Shackling chains, holding everyone back longer than necessary. Luke finished duplicating files just moments later, sending them safely onto another flash drive marked backup, ready should anything unexpected arise further ahead, standing strong against adversities, sure eventually follow when truth shines brighter, revealing harsh realities, waiting patiently, hidden away, hoping someone finally cares enough. Stand firm, fight back, reclaim dignity, lost long ago because love wins always, not money, nor power wielded ruthlessly ever triumphs. Over human spirit, undeterred, fighting forward no matter what obstacles arise, next round awaiting outside those walls, protected, standing firm today, together here, right now. Finally turning toward each other, exchanging silent glances, heavy-laden yet full of possibility beyond words. Shared, nestled deep within hearts, beating steadily united, under same sky, wrapping round dreams, kindled alive, urging everyone onward. Despite uncertainties hanging heavily, ever present behind closed doors, unseen until moments surfaced, bringing light, illuminating darkness, exposing flaws, hidden beneath surface. Concealing truth no longer remained silent, whispering stories, begging loud, needing heard of it. Just one voice raised loudly made heard echoes, reaching far beyond walls, towering high, guarding everything left. Unsaid, kept close, bound forever, silence breaking chains, shattered, remaining broken. Fragments woven anew, restored, stitching together lives torn apart, finding way home again, finding strength, dwelling firmly deep within souls, craving hope, breathing life freely, soaring highest above skies, brimming full possibility, stretched endlessly wide, waiting, beckoning, anyone willing reach, grasp, take flight, anew, soaring onward, pursuing dreams, once lost, forgotten, somewhere a long way homeward bound, ready embrace whatever comes next. The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving a sky streaked with orange and pink. Inside Luke's cozy kitchen, the aroma of simmering marinara sauce filled the air. He stirred the pot, while his teenage daughter Maya carefully set the table. "Are you trying to impress someone?" Maya teased with a grin. "It's just spaghetti, kiddo, but it is a special night," Luke replied, glancing at the door, waiting for Rosa and Tomas. A soft knock echoed through the house. Luke wiped his hands, opened the door, and smiled at Rosa, who stood there with a warm grin. Little Tomas peeked around her leg, excited. "Is it time for dinner?" he asked, bouncing. "Almost. Just need to set the table," Luke said, stepping aside. Rosa entered, carrying a fresh salad and crusty bread. "I thought we could use something fresh with the sauce," she said, placing them down. "You're right. It smells amazing," Tomas exclaimed, climbing onto a chair. Luke dished generous portions of spaghetti onto each plate as they all settled at the table. Maya smiled at Tomas. "You like spaghetti?" "It's my favorite," he declared, twirling his fork expertly, "especially with lots of sauce." Luke laughed as tension from the day faded. They swapped stories about their favorite meals and funny moments from school and work. "I heard if you eat spaghetti really fast you can slurp up the noodles before they hit the plate," Maya said mischievously. "No way. Challenge accepted," Tomas shouted. "Well then," Luke said dramatically, leaning back. "Let's see who can do it." Maya winked at Tomas, and they dove into their plates, noodles flying everywhere. "Look out, it's going to be messy," Rosa laughed, watching while keeping her plate tidy. In the midst of laughter and friendly rivalry, Luke felt warmth spread through him, feeling absent since losing his wife. This was family, this was joy, love, and laughter despite storms outside. As dinner progressed, conversation flowed like the sauce coating their pasta. Maya shared tales of organizing friends to clean up lunch, while Tomas bragged about conquering an obstacle course at recess. "That sounds epic," Luke praised. "I even jumped over 2 big boxes without falling," Tomas added proudly. "That's my boy. Serious skills." Luke ruffled his hair. Maya teased. "Next time, I bet you'll wear a cape." "Yeah, I'll be Super Tomas," he pretended to fly in his chair. Laughter echoed through the house, filling it with warmth. Rosa watched Luke with the kids, hope blooming in her heart like spring flowers after winter. Perhaps happiness could return after years apart. As dinner ended and they cleared the table for dessert a chocolate cake, Rosa baked they gathered for jokes. Humor crackled like static electricity, warming the room. "Okay. Why did the tomato turn red?" Maya began, excitement bubbling. "I don't know why," the boys chorused, eager for the punchline. "Because it saw the salad dressing." She erupted in giggles. Even Rosa chuckled. Tomas clapped. "That's funny. My turn. What do you call cheese that isn't yours?" "What?" they asked, curious. "Nacho cheese!" Laughter erupted again, filling the room. After dessert was cleared, the children scampered upstairs, and Rosa instinctively worked beside Luke, washing dishes. It felt perfect. Quiet footsteps from upstairs interrupted their conversation. Little hands peeked around the doorway, holding colorful papers. "Tomas?" Rosa called gently. He took a tentative step forward, clutching something to his chest, then mustered the courage to speak. "I made something for you." "What is it?" Maya asked eagerly. "It's..." Hesitating briefly, he revealed an intricately folded paper craft. "It's a ring." "A ring? For me?" Luke stammered, emotions swirling. "Yes, a ring!" Maya exclaimed, bouncing happily. Tomas slipped off his chair and dashed to Luke, holding the craft proudly. Joy radiated from the young boy as they celebrated the moment, warmth enveloping the room. "I want you to remember me," Tomas said hopefully. Luke felt overwhelmed but grateful, cherishing their bonds. This was a night of new beginnings, heartfelt laughter, and rekindled joy, a family forged through love and resilience, looking forward to the future together. The town fair was a whirlwind of laughter, lights, and music in Bluegrass, Kentucky. Bright booths lined the paths, buzzing with families enjoying games, cotton candy, and lemonade. The air smelled of fried dough and popcorn, filling hearts with joy. As evening fell, the sun painted the sky in lavender and gold. String lights twinkled softly overhead. Children ran with painted faces, and parents shared smiles over plates of food, creating a celebration that felt eternal. Luke McRae stood by a booth with pie in hand, watching his daughter Maya bounce around with little Tomas, who held her hand tightly. Their laughter rang out, warming Luke's chest. "Look at them," Rosa said, her eyes sparkling. "They're having the time of their lives." "They really are," Luke replied, noticing how radiant Rosa looked under the lights. The way her hair caught the glow made her seem almost magical, amidst the excitement of the fair. Rosa smiled back at him. For a moment, they stood together, two people who had weathered storms and found shelter together. There was a comfort in their shared past and an unspoken promise of what could be in the future. Suddenly, Jasmine appeared, her bright yellow dress fluttering like a sunflower swaying in the breeze. "Hey, what are you two doing just standing here?" she asked playfully. Luke beamed at her energy. "Just admiring how happy these two are," he nodded toward Maya and Tomas. "Let's join them, come on," Jasmine exclaimed. Infectiously enthusiastic, Luke felt his heart lift as he followed Jasmine into the crowd. "Okay, let's go." They wandered deeper into the fairgrounds, where booths showcased everything from crafts to treats. Cheerful music filled the air, drawing families into joyful dances beneath glimmering lights. Maya spotted a game booth filled with plush toys hanging enticingly from above a colorful assortment, waiting for small hands to win them. "Can we play?" she asked eagerly. "Sure thing," Luke replied with enthusiasm as he followed Maya's excited steps toward the booth. Tomas looked up at Maya with wide eyes as she handed him a few coins from her pocket that she had saved for this very moment. "Here, you try first." Tomas took a coin shyly and approached the game booth where a friendly man was running it. "What do I do?" he asked softly. "You throw these balls at those bottles," the man explained with a warm smile. "Knock down 3 bottles to win a prize." Tomas focused hard on his task as he tossed each ball carefully, but only managed to knock down 1 bottle before stepping back defeatedly. "You did great!" Maya encouraged him while clapping her hands together excitedly. "Now, it's my turn." As Maya stepped up to try her luck, Jasmine leaned closer to Luke. "I love seeing them together like this," she said softly. Luke nodded in agreement. Watching Maya take charge filled him with pride as he thought about how far they had come as a family, even if it was still forming in ways no one had anticipated just weeks ago. "Gotcha!" Maya exclaimed triumphantly, after knocking down 2 bottles on her first try and squealing with joy when she won a small stuffed baron bright enough to match her spirit. "You're amazing!" Tomas cheered as he bounced up and down beside her while holding onto his own plush Prizia, little frog that he had won on his second attempt after finding courage to try again. Luke felt warmth fill his heart. Moments like these made all struggles worthwhile. The laughter shared between kids created memories woven tightly together that would last long after this night ended. They continued exploring more booths. Laughter echoed through the air, alongside catchy tunes played by local musicians, strumming guitars, nearby notes sending waves of happiness through every soul, present at this celebration of community spirit under starry skies. "What's next?" Jasmine asked excitedly while twirling around to face Luke, her dress spinning elegantly as though capturing light itself from above, and it made Luke catch his breath for an instant before responding thoughtfully, "How about some funnel cakes? I think they're calling our names." "I'm in," Maya said enthusiastically while skipping ahead toward another booth where steam wafted through an open window, revealing golden brown cakes sizzling away inside, ready to be covered in powdered sugar or chocolate syrup, the sweet aroma pulling everyone closer like moths to flames. As they waited for their treats, watching chefs work swiftly behind counters, prepping each order, Luke couldn't help but admire how effortlessly Jasmine fit into their little family dynamics. It was like she belonged here too, among them, sharing smiles over powdered sugar-coated delicacies that would soon bring blissful bites of delight when they arrived. Once they received their orders, topped generously with all things sweetened heavenly goodness, they found themselves gathering around picnic tables nearby, which were filled with other families laughing joyfully while children danced freely between seats, trying out new flavors on their tongues, gleefully without care about anything else happening beyond this moment, captured perfectly within its frame. "I want more frosting," Tomas announced dramatically while pointing towards Maya's plate, filled high alongside thick chocolate syrup, drizzled across fluffy goodness piled high before them. Both his wide-eyed curiosity matched only by eagerness radiating outward, making everyone laugh heartily yet again. "Not until you finish your cake first," Rosa teased him playfully, while shaking her head, knowing full well how challenging it can sometimes be getting kids focused enough during festivities such as these. They dug into their treats with gusto. Sweet crumbs flying everywhere, creating messes that made everyone giggle even more. Didn't matter though, because joy filled every corner, making messes insignificant compared against memories being created right here tonight. "Maya, look!" Jasmine exclaimed, suddenly pointing across towards another area near where several bright-colored tents were set up, showcasing handmade crafts sold by local artists, featuring everything from jewelry made using colorful beads strung carefully onto delicate chains, displaying intricate designs painted onto wood surfaces. A like-all, representing talents, unique only found within this close-knit community, built over years, passed down through generations, their stories now intertwining seamlessly amongst each other, forever marking moments etched indelibly into history itself. Maya's eyes widened brightly upon seeing all those crafts beautifully arranged, showcasing talent waiting patiently for new owners, willing enough to appreciate them wholeheartedly too. "Can we go see?" she asked, excitedly, tugging at Luke's arm, insistently wanting nothing more than explore everything life had offered beyond this fairground, just outside its boundaries. They would venture forth together, side by side, exploring what lay ahead, not caring whether it rained or shined, instead savoring each taste along every twist taken upon journey forward. "Of course, let's check them out." He chuckled back fondly, smiling warmly, thinking about how precious these times felt right now, having been gifted second chances built upon kindness, shared among friends, finding strength amongst each other, paving pathways never dreamed possible before finally becoming real today, making magic happen around them once again. As they moved toward craft booths, glistening brightly beneath string lights, illuminating everything nearby, even brighter than stars shining above brightly illuminating paths, winding away, leading homeward ever so slowly still. Remaining close enough, feel safe, embraced warmly within familial bonds, strengthened fiercely, holding tight together, now amidst life unfolding beautifully, one step forward, bringing new adventures waiting just ahead. The sun rose slowly over bluegrass Kentucky, casting warm light over the quiet streets. Birds chirped, welcoming a new day. But as Luke McCrae drove to the clinic with Jasmine and Rosa, a heavy weight settled in his chest. They had gathered evidence against Brent Caro. As they approached the clinic, unease washed over him. Something felt wrong. "Do you think everything's okay?" Jasmine asked from the back seat, concern in her voice. "Soon, we'll find out," Luke replied, trying to sound confident. Upon arrival, the scene was jarring. The clinic's front windows were smashed, glass shards glistening on the ground. The door hung ajar as if forced open. "Oh no," Rosa gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Without hesitation, she rushed inside. "Stay close," Luke called, worry threading his voice as he hurried after her. Inside, they carefully maneuvered around scattered files and broken furniture. The sight was chaotic and heartbreaking. This place had been a refuge. "Who would do this?" Jasmine asked softly, eyes wide with disbelief. "It has to be Caro," Luke said, bitterness in his tone. "He won't stop until he gets what he wants." Rosa knelt to pick up torn papers, her face paling with each piece. "This isn't vandalism," she murmured. "They're looking for something specific." Luke's heart raced. They had hidden a copy of Jasmine's thumb drive here last night. It contained vital evidence against Caro. "Where's the thumb drive?" he asked urgently. "I don't see it," Rosa replied, rifling through more scattered papers. As he moved to another room, Luke glanced back at Rosa and Jasmine, wanting to search but feeling helpless with time slipping away. Jasmine's frantic voice called from behind, "I found something. It looks like a report." "Could be important," she said excitedly, shoving it into her bag. Rosa grimly shook her head as she cleaned up debris. "This doesn't feel right. We need to go." Luke nodded. Dread settling in deeper, he couldn't let them lose hope, now that progress against Caro was unfolding. Suddenly, an unsettling noise outside caught Luke's attention. "What is it?" Rosa asked, sensing his alarm. "I don't know." He squinted toward a shadowy figure that looked like an SUV parked nearby. "That doesn't look good," Jasmine whispered nervously, peeking out beside him. "It could be nothing," he attempted, but tension rose among them like fog thickening their breaths. "We can't just sit here," Rosa exclaimed, scanning anxiously. "Okay," Luke agreed, urgency coursing through him, but knew it meant leaving untouched evidence. "We have to get out of here," he motioned toward their escape route, hoping whatever was out there wouldn't notice them leaving. They stepped carefully over more broken glass, feeling a bit of relief despite lingering dangers lurking. Yet hope remained alive, propelling them forward as they navigated the chaotic aftermath. Suddenly, a realization jolted, Lucchethi urgency ignited. Together they surged to reclaim what they could, propelled by their shared purpose. As they moved, resolve strengthened their hearts, remembering the bond of community amidst the chaos. With rapid breaths and pounding hearts, they pressed forward, knowing they were connected, ready to overcome challenges together. The drive back to Maple Arms Inn was silent, heavy with the implications of the vandalism at the clinic. Luke's mind raced with the fact they'd lost crucial evidence, feeling Caro's grip tighten. When they arrived, Rosa appeared pale and drawn. She stepped out slowly. "I need to check on Tomas," she whispered. Luke nodded, sensing the fear in her eyes. "I'll come with you." Jasmine lingered behind, guilt weighing on her. She knew she was the cause of this chaos. Rosa's small, cozy apartment radiated warmth, with Tomas's toys in one corner and a colorful quilt on the couch. The little boy was at the kitchen table, coloring. "Mama?" he exclaimed, joy lighting up his face. Rosa's smile was strained as she hugged him tightly. "Hola, mi amor," she murmured. Luke stepped back, observing the homey details, the photos on the walls, potted plants on the sill. It contrasted sharply with the chaos of the clinic. A knock on the door broke the moment. Rosa tensed, eyes on Luke in alarm. "I'll get it," he said, moving to the door. Two stern individuals stood outside, identified as Child Protective Services representatives. "Good afternoon," the woman stated. "We're here to assess Tomas Santiago." Rosa's face went pale. "What? Why?" she demanded, her voice trembling. The man consulted his clipboard. "An anonymous tip raised concerns about Tomas's safety, regarding your stability as a parent, and Mr. McCrae's involvement," he explained. Luke's anger flared. "This is ridiculous. Tomas is safe here." The woman met his gaze. "We still need to conduct our assessment. May we come in?" Rosa hesitated, then stepped aside. Luke followed closely, protective instincts heightened. Tomas watched curiously as the CPS workers began the assessment, questioning Rosa about her living situation and her relationship with Luke. "How long have you known Mr. McCrae?" the woman asked. "We met many years ago," Rosa replied cautiously. "We've recently reconnected." "And what is Mr. McCrae's role in Tomas's life?" the man pressed. Rosa glanced at Luke and replied firmly, "He's Tomas's father." The CPS workers exchanged glances before turning to Luke, asking similar questions about his relationship with Rosa and his role raising both Tomas and Maya, his daughter. "Do you believe you can provide a stable environment for both children?" one asked, almost rhetorically given their commitment. Luke met their gaze, anger simmering beneath the surface. "Absolutely," he asserted, knowing this battle was far from over. Jasmine observed with guilt, realizing she was the reason behind the upheaval, manipulated by an unseen figure orchestrating the chaos. As CPS questioned Rosa, they meticulously documented the apartment's condition, recording observations that would shape their opinions and judgments. At last, the assessment concluded, and paperwork was completed. Rosa was informed of follow-up steps to ensure compliance, highlighting the stringent regulations to protect the vulnerable, often failing in its noble pursuit. While CPS prepared to leave, Jasmine remained in the background, grappling with her role in this situation. Evening approached, bringing a blanket of twilight. Stars twinkled above as shadows danced beneath the inn. Luke and Rosa walked quietly, minds heavy with worries, yet finding comfort in their united front against uncertainty. At the inn, Jasmine retreated, reflecting on the impact her decisions had made on the children and community's safety, accepting the weight of responsibility. As night deepened, tranquility settled across the inn while hearts and minds grew weary. They prepared for the battles ahead, ever resilient, determined to protect their loved ones. Before dawn, Luke woke to the sound of soft rain tapping against the window. He blinked, disoriented for a moment, before the events of the past few days rushed back to him. He sat up quickly, his heart pounding with a sense of urgency he couldn't shake. Something felt off. The room was dim, the only light coming from a sliver of early morning creeping through the curtains. Luke rubbed his eyes and glanced around, his gaze landing on the chair near the window. His breath caught in his throat. Jasmine's borrowed clothes were folded neatly on the chair, as if she had taken great care in arranging them just so. Her absence hit him like a punch to the gut. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and stood up, his movements hurried and tense. "Jasmine?" he called out, though he already knew she wouldn't answer. The room felt emptier without her presence, colder, somehow. As he moved closer to the chair, he noticed a small piece of paper resting on top of the clothes. He picked it up with trembling fingers and unfolded it. The note was short, written in Jasmine's neat handwriting. "Protect them. I'll be fine." Luke's heart sank as he read the words. She had left to protect them all, but at what cost? His mind raced with questions and fears. He crumpled the note in his fist and hurried out of the room, driven by a sense of desperation. The inn was quiet at this early hour. The hallway was dimly lit by a single overhead light, casting long shadows on the walls. Luke's footsteps echoed softly as he made his way toward Rosa's apartment. He needed to make sure Tomas and Rosa were safe. When he reached Rosa's door, he knocked softly but urgently. It only took a moment before Rosa opened it, her eyes wide with concern. "Luke, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice laced with worry. "She's gone," Luke said, holding up the crumpled note. "Jasmine left." Rosa's face fell as she took in his words. "No," she whispered. "Why would she do that?" "She wants to protect us," Luke replied, anger and frustration bubbling up inside him. "She thinks this is the only way." Rosa shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "We can't let her do this alone." "I know," Luke said firmly. "But first we need to make sure you and Tomas are safe." Rosa nodded, her resolve hardening as she looked at him. "We'll be fine here for now, but you need to find her." Luke felt a surge of determination at her words. He couldn't let Jasmine face this alone. They were stronger together. He turned and hurried back down the hallway, his mind racing with plans and possibilities. As he reached the front door of the inn, he paused for a moment to collect himself. Outside, the rain had started again, falling in soft sheets that blurred the edges of everything it touched. The world seemed quieter in the rain, more introspective somehow. Luke stepped out into the rain without hesitation, feeling its cool touch on his skin as he scanned the area for any sign of Jasmine or those black SUVs that had been hunting her since day one. His eyes locked onto tire tracks in the mud. Leading away from the in-fresh tracks that hadn't been there before, dawn broke through its gray shroud. Without wasting another second, hesitating or thinking about what could go wrong if he followed these tracks blindly into danger once more. For someone who had become important, not just because she needed saving, but because she mattered, to began running down them at full speed, despite how slippery each step became beneath him, dew only partly dew, now falling droplets, making everything slicker than usual, even by spring standards around here, which were already known being quite unpredictable, weather-wise anyhow, especially during this time year when storms came often unexpectedly, suddenly too much alike. How recent events unfolded themselves, right under noses, everyone involved trying best keep heads above. Water. So speak, metaphorically speaking, course, although literal sense wasn't far off either, considering circumstances currently surrounding entire situation involving all parties concerned directly, indirectly, whether they realized or not yet. Truth be told, revealed soon enough. Eventually, anyways, least hoped so. Outcome, whatever might turn out. Eventually, once dust settled. Finally, whenever, wherever that happened, occur ultimately. Somewhere, somehow, some way, no matter what. Obstacles faced a long path ahead, winding, twisting, turning, never-ending, seeming endless, until reached end. Line goal achieved, victory won, battle fought valiantly, courageously, honorably, deservedly so rightfully earned, through perseverance, determination, strength, will, power, love, faith, hope, trust, belief, goodness, humanity, shining brightly, beacon, guiding light, amidst darkness, shadows, lurking, ever present, always lurking, waiting, chance, strike, fear, hearts, those unsuspecting, unaware dangers, lurking just beyond sight, mind's eye, hidden depths, unseen, unfathomable reaches existence itself, perhaps beyond comprehension. Understanding mere mortals like us, simple beings striving daily, survive, thrive. Amidst chaos, confusion, turmoil, surrounding constantly, threatening, overwhelm, consume, devour whole, leaving nothing behind, mere shells, former selves, hollow, empty voids, echoes, lost, forgotten time, immemorial, eternal abyss. Forevermore. Luke ran faster, now, driven sheer force, sheer will, sheer need, save, protect, rescue, help support, uplift, inspire, encourage, strengthen, empower, love, cherish, hold dear, close near, always, forevermore, no matter what happened next, wherever journey took them, wherever ended. Finally, someday, somewhere, somehow, some way. He could see faint glow headlights, distance far ahead, almost like mirage illusion. Trick played, tired, weary mind, struggling, keep focus, clarity, amidst swirling thoughts, emotions raging within heart, soul, mind, body, spirit, unified, singular. Purpose, mission, complete task, accomplish, objective, succeed, prevail, triumph, victorious. Stand, tall, proud, unwavering, unyielding, unbroken, undeterred, unstoppable, unrelenting, undaunted, undefeated, unmatched, unparalleled, unrivaled, unequaled, unsurpassed, unsurpassable, insurmountable, indomitable, invincible. But then, reality set back. Hard, cold, stark, brutal, unforgiving, relentless, merciless, pitiless, cruel, harsh, grim, bleak, dismal, hopeless, despairing, despondent, forlorn, wretched, miserable, sorrowful, anguished, tormented, tortured, suffering, agonizing, painful, excruciating, unbearable, intolerable, insufferable, inconceivable, unimaginable, unthinkable. For there ahead, indeed, sight black, SUVs, looming, menacing, ominous, threatening, foreboding, sinister, evil, malevolent, dark, shadowy figures, lurking within unseen, hidden, concealed, cloaked, veiled, shrouded mystery, secrecy, deception, betrayal, danger, peril, risk, jeopardy, harm, hurt, injury, damage, destruction, devastation, annihilation, obliteration, extinction, eradication, extermination. Yet still, despite odds stacked heavily, favor enemies, opponents, adversaries, antagonists, villains, rogues, scoundrels, knaves, ruffians, thugs, brutes, bullies, oppressors, exploiters, manipulators, abusers, tormentors, persecutors. He kept running, kept pushing, kept fighting, kept striving, kept hoping, kept believing, kept loving, kept living, kept surviving, kept thriving, kept enduring, kept persevering, kept persisting, kept resisting, kept refying, kept challenging, kept overcoming, kept prevailing, kept triumphing. Because somewhere deep within, knew without doubt, certainty, absolute truth, undeniable, irrefutable, incontrovertible, indisputable, incontestable, incontestably, fact, reality, existence, being, essence, core, soul, spirit, heart, mind, body, unified, singular purpose, mission, goal, objective aim, target, focus, intention, drive, motivation, inspiration, aspiration, ambition, dream, vision, hope, faith, love, goodness, humanity, shining brightly, beacon guiding light, amidst darkness, shadows lurking, ever present, always, lurking, waiting, chance, strike, fear, hearts. Those unsuspecting, unaware dangers lurking just beyond sight, mind's eye, hidden depths, unseen, unfathomable, reaches existence itself, perhaps beyond comprehension. Understanding, mere mortals, like us, simple beings, striving daily survive, thrive, amidst chaos, confusion, turmoil, surrounding, constantly threatening, overwhelm, consume, devour whole, leaving nothing behind. Mere shells, former selves, hollow, empty, voids, echoes, lost, forgotten time, immemorial, eternal abyss, forevermore. And so, with every step, took every breath, drew every heartbeat, pounded every thought formed, every emotion felt, every sensation experienced, every fiber being strained, stretched, tested, tried, proven, worthy, capable, deserving, honorable, noble, courageous, brave, strong, resilient, determined, steadfast, unwavering, unyielding, unbroken, undeterred, unstoppable, unrelenting, undaunted, undefeated, unmatched, unparalleled, unrivaled, unequaled, unsurpassed, unsurpassable, insurmountable, indomitable, invincible. He ran toward destiny, fate, future, unknown, uncertain, unpredictable, uncontrollable, unavoidable, inevitable, inexorable, unalterable, immutable, fixed, predetermined, preordained, foreordained, fated, destined, ordained, decreed, mandated, planned, intended, meant, designed, fashioned, crafted, shaped, molded, created, formed, forged, conceived, birthed, born, lived, breathed, existed, thrived, survived, endured, persisted, prevailed, triumphed, succeeded, achieved, accomplished, attained, realized. Fulfilled, completed, finished, done, over-ended, begun anew, fresh start, new beginning, clean slate, blank canvas, endless possibilities, infinite potential, limitless opportunities, boundless horizons, vast expanses, wide open spaces, free, clear, pure, true, beautiful, glorious, wonderful, amazing, miraculous, magnificent, splendid, grand, majestic, awe-inspiring, breathtaking, astonishing, astounding, incredible, unbelievable, extraordinary, exceptional, remarkable, phenomenal, fantastic, fabulous, fabulous, fantastic, marvelous, marvelous, fabulous, fantastic, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Late morning sunlight filtered through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow on the worn wooden table. Luke McRae sat there, hands wrapped around a mug of cold coffee, staring blankly at the wall, his mind racing with worry. Jasmine was gone, having sacrificed herself to protect them, leaving her alone and vulnerable. The house was too quiet. The usual sounds of Maya's laughter and Tomas's chatter were absent, replaced by an eerie silence pressing down on Luke's chest. He took a deep breath, battling the whirlwind of fear and uncertainty that threatened to overwhelm him. Lost in his thoughts, he didn't notice the soft footsteps from the hallway. Maya appeared in the doorway, pale and wide-eyed with concern, watching her father with an aching heart. "Dad?" she said softly, stepping inside. Luke met her gaze, guilt washing over him at the sight of her worry. He had always tried to be strong for her, but now felt helpless. Maya walked over, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Dad," she repeated, her voice urgent, "you can't just sit here." Luke sighed deeply and ran a hand through his hair. "I don't know what to do, Maya. Jasmine's gone, and I can't find her." Maya's grip tightened on his shoulder. "You always know what to do. You run toward danger with bandages. Do it again, only for us all." Her words cut through his despair, igniting a spark of determination in his heart. He saw not just his daughter, but a wise young woman standing before him. "Jasmine needs us, and we need her too. You can't give up now," she urged. As her impassioned plea sank in, Luke felt a renewed sense of purpose stir within him. He couldn't let Jasmine face this alone. They were stronger together. "You're right," he said finally, his voice firming with resolve. "We can't just sit here and do nothing." Maya nodded, her eyes brightening with hope as she saw her father's determination return. Luke stood up from the table and took a deep breath. "First things first. We need to make sure Rosa and Tomas are safe." Maya followed him as he headed toward the hallway leading to Rosa's apartment within the inn. They found Rosa sitting on the edge of Tomas's bed, holding his small hand in hers as he slept peacefully despite everything happening around them. Rosa looked up as they entered the room, concern etched across her face. "Luke," she said softly. "We need to make sure you and Tomas are safe here," Luke repeated firmly but gently. Rosa nodded slowly. "We'll be fine for now," she replied, though worry still lingered in her eyes. Tomas stirred in his sleep, then opened his eyes groggily when he noticed Luke standing nearby, along with Maya, who gave him an encouraging smile that warmed both their hearts amidst all turmoil surrounding them presently without respite. Seemingly never-ending, like storm raging endlessly outside, reflecting inner chaos, turmoil, confusion, doubts, fears, uncertainties, threatening engulf whole existence, completely without mercy or compassion whatsoever. "Hi," Tomas whispered sleepily, while rubbing one eye with tiny fist, trying shake off remnants. Dream world, slipping away, gradually replaced, reality, harsh, stark, cold, unforgiving, relentless, brutal, merciless, pitiless, cruel, harsh, grim, bleak, dismal, hopeless, despairing, despondent, forlorn, wretched, miserable, sorrowful, anguished, tormented, tortured, suffering, agonizing, painful, excruciating, unbearable, intolerable, insufferable, inconceivable, unimaginable, unthinkable. "Hey there," Luke said softly, kneeling beside bed, so he could look directly into Boy's eyes. Filled innocence, purity, untouched, untainted, corruption, deceit, betrayal, lies, treachery, manipulation, exploitation, abuse, torment, persecution, oppression, subjugation, domination, control, power, greed, selfishness, evil, malevolence, darkness, shadows, lurking, ever-present, always waiting, strike, fear, hearts, unsuspecting, unaware, dangers, hidden depths, unseen, unfathomable reaches, existence itself, perhaps beyond comprehension. Understanding mere mortals, like us simple beings striving daily, survive, thrive, amidst chaos, confusion, turmoil, surrounding constantly, threatening, overwhelm, consume, devour, whole leaving nothing behind mere shells. Former selves, hollow, empty voids, echoes, lost, forgotten time, immemorial, eternal abyss, forevermore. "We're going find Jasmine, bring her back, promise okay?" continued reassuringly. Tomas nodded sleepily, clutching paper ring tightly within tiny fist, symbolizing promise, permanence, commitment. "Okay, Daddy," whispered before, drifting back, dream world, once more, knowing, deep down, heart, soul, mind, body, spirit, unified, singular, purpose, mission, goal, objective, aim, target, focus, intention, drive, motivation, inspiration, aspiration, ambition, dream, vision. Hope, faith, love, goodness, humanity, shining brightly, beacon guiding light, amidst darkness, shadows lurking, ever present, always waiting, strike fear, hearts unsuspecting, unaware, dangers, hidden depths, unseen, unfathomable, reaches existence itself, perhaps beyond comprehension, understanding mere mortals, like us, simple beings, striving daily, survive, thrive, amidst chaos, confusion, turmoil surrounding, constantly, threatening, overwhelm, consume, devour whole, leaving nothing behind mere shells, former selves, hollow, empty voids, echoes, lost forgotten time, immemorial, eternal abyss, forevermore. Luke stood back, slowly turned, looked Rosa, then Maya, both watching him closely, silently. "I'll find her, bring back promise, okay?" repeated gently. Luke and Maya arrived at Rosa's apartment, the urgency in their steps reflecting the gravity of their mission. Rosa welcomed them in with a worried smile, Tomas clutching her hand and looking up at Luke with wide eyes. "What's going on?" Rosa asked, sensing the determination in Luke's expression. "We need to regroup and come up with a plan," Luke explained. "But first, I need to visit Pastor Etta. She's been helping us gather evidence against Caro." Rosa nodded, understanding the importance of what needed to be done. "We'll be here if you need us," she said, squeezing his arm for reassurance. Luke bent down to Tomas's level, giving the boy a reassuring smile. "I'll be back soon, buddy," he said softly. "Stay with Rosa and Maya, okay?" Tomas nodded, his small hand still gripping Luke's tightly before letting go. With that, Luke turned and headed out the door, Maya by his side. The walk to Pastor Etta's house was filled with an electric sense of purpose. They reached the modest home quickly and knocked on the door. Pastor Etta opened it with her usual warm smile, though her eyes reflected the same concern that everyone felt. "Luke, Maya, come in," she greeted them. They stepped inside, and Pastor Etta led them to the living room where she had a pot of tea waiting. They sat down, and Luke wasted no time getting to the point. "Pastor Etta, we need your help," he said earnestly. "Jasmine's gone. She left to protect us all from Caro." Pastor Etta nodded solemnly. "I heard about what happened," she said softly. "But we can't let her sacrifice be in vain." Luke nodded in agreement. "We need to find her and make sure the evidence we've gathered against Caro is safe." A thoughtful look crossed Pastor Etta's face before she spoke again. "I made a third copy of that thumb drive," she revealed. Luke's eyes widened in surprise. "You did?" Pastor Etta nodded with a sly smile. "Yes, I hid it in the baptismal cabinet at the church where no one but God looks." Maya let out a small gasp of relief. "That's amazing!" she exclaimed. Pastor Etta chuckled softly. "It's always good to have a backup plan," she said warmly. Luke felt a surge of gratitude toward Pastor Etta for her foresight and resourcefulness. "Thank you," he said sincerely. Before they could discuss further plans, Nettie June burst through the door with an excited look on her face, clutching her phone tightly. "I've got something big," Nettie June announced breathlessly as she hurried into the living room. Everyone turned their attention to her as she held up her phone triumphantly. "What is it?" Luke asked curiously. Nettie June grinned widely as she tapped on her phone screen and played a recording aloud for everyone to hear. The room fell silent as Caro's VP's voice echoed through the small speaker, "Cleaning up the workforce problem," followed by smug laughter and further incriminating remarks about their illegal practices regarding laborers. The weight of what they were hearing settled over them like a heavy blanket. This recording could be critical evidence against Brent Caro and his corrupt dealings. "Where did you get this?" Maya asked in amazement once the recording ended. Nettie June puffed up proudly as she explained how she managed to record it during one of their fundraisers at Maple Arms Inn without anyone noticing. Quick thinking indeed. Pastor Etta reached out gently, placing hand atop Nettie June's, giving it an appreciative squeeze while meeting her gaze-filled admiration. Sometimes even simplest acts can bring greatest change when done right time. "We've got him now," Maya exclaimed triumphantly, looking around group feeling renewed hope course through veins, seeing collective nods, agreement, determination etched across faces present, knowing together they stood chance taking down mighty adversary who sought, destroy, everything held dear simply because cared too much, remained silent, any more witnessing injustices unfolding before very eyes, daily basis, refusing, turn, blind eye, hoping someone else would step up, fight battles, shouldered long. Enough alone burden shared, many become lighter, carried none, fought bravely, loved deeply. Enough make difference, matter world forever changed. Better place despite odds, stacked high against. "Let's get this information out there," Luke said, resolutely. Standing tall, feeling newfound strength, coursing veins, knowing wasn't alone anymore. Journey reclaim justice, peace restore, faith, humanity fighting tirelessly, unwavering belief, brighter future, possible, regardless. Challenges faced head-on, every stepway, unwavering, courage, love, compassion, guiding light, dark times, illuminating path ahead, shining beacon, hope amidst storm clouds, threatening engulf lives, engulf whole hearts, courageously standing. Firm, midst, adversity, united front, never backing down, fighting, fiercely, fiercely, loved, deeply enough, make difference, matter, world forever changed, better place, despite odds stacked high against. Everyone nodded in agreement. They had work due, but knew, couldn't accomplish anything. Alone, strength, unity, bound together. Common cause, greater themselves, individually. Collectively striving towards brighter. Tomorrow, envisioned together fought tirelessly. unwavering belief, brighter future possible, regardless. Challenges faced head-on every step, way unwavering. Courage, love, compassion, guiding light, dark times, illuminating path ahead, shining beacon, hope amidst storm clouds, threatening engulf lives. Engulf whole hearts, courageously, standing firm midst adversity, united, front never backing down, fighting fiercely, fiercely loved, deeply enough, make difference. Matter world forever changed, better place despite odds, stacked high against. We'll need everyone on board, Pastor Etta remarked thoughtfully, glancing around room, seeing collective determination etched across faces, present knowing together stood chance, taking down mighty adversary, who sought destroy everything held dear, simply because, cared. Too much remained silent anymore, witnessing injustices unfolding before very eyes. Daily basis, refusing turn, blind eye, hoping someone else would step up, fight battles, shouldered long enough, a lone burden, shared many become lighter, carried none. Fought bravely, loved deeply enough, make difference, matter world, forever changed, better place, despite odds stacked high against. Nettie June chimed, adding own brand humor-laced truth, remarking wryly, well, if anyone doubts Power Pie now surely must be convinced otherwise. Eliciting chuckles around group lightening mood, momentarily reminding everyone. Amidst seriousness, situation, importance, maintaining sense, humor, keeping spirits high, never losing sight, bigger picture, overarching goal, restoring justice, peace, community, working tirelessly, towards brighter tomorrow, envisioned together, fought tirelessly, unwavering belief, brighter future, possible, regardless challenges, faced head-on, every step way, unwavering courage, love, compassion, guiding, light, dark times, illuminating path ahead, shining beacon, hope amidst storm clouds, threatening engulf, lives engulf whole hearts, courageously standing, firm midst adversity, united, front, never backing down, fighting fiercely, fiercely loved. Deeply enough, make difference, matter world, forever changed, better place, despite odds, stacked high against. The group gathered their resources, thumb drive recording testimonies, and began formulating plan to disseminate information widest audience possible, ensuring no stone left unturned. Justice served Brent Caro. Exposed corrupt dealings brought light, truth prevailed, community restored faith, humanity stronger, ever united common cause, greater themselves individually, collectively, striving towards brighter tomorrow. Envisioned together, fought tirelessly, unwavering belief, brighter future possible. Regardless challenges faced head-on every step. Way unwavering courage, love, compassion, guiding light, dark times illuminating path ahead, shining beacon, hope amidst storm clouds, threatening engulf, lives engulf whole hearts, courageously. Standing firm midst adversity, united front, never backing down, fighting fiercely, fiercely. Love deeply enough, make difference, matter, world forever, changed, better place despite odds, stacked high against. Pastor Etta turned attention. Everyone present room saying firmly yet kindly, we must stay vigilant, remember always why doing this justice, for those wronged voices, silenced families torn apart, simply trying survive, providing better life. Children ourselves, knowing stand firm midst adversity, united front, never backing down, fighting fiercely, fiercely loved, deeply enough, make difference, matter world, forever changed, better place, despite odds stacked high, against. Everyone nodded. Agreement, understanding, gravity, situation, responsibility, shoulders, ensuring justice, served. Brent Caro exposed corrupt dealings, brought light, truth prevailed, community, restored faith, humanity, Stronger, ever united, common. Cause greater themselves, individually, collectively, striving towards brighter. Tomorrow, envisioned together, fought tirelessly. Unwavering belief. Brighter future, possible regardless challenges, faced head-on every step, way unwavering. Courage, love, compassion, guiding light. Dark times, illuminating path ahead, shining beacon, hope amidst storm clouds, threatening engulf lives. Engulf whole hearts, courageously standing firm, midst adversity, united front, never backing down. Fighting, fiercely, loved. Deeply enough, make difference, matter, world, forever changed. Better place despite odds stacked high against. The VFW hall buzzed with activity that night. Luke walked in, feeling the familiar creak of the wooden floors under his boots. The hall was a sanctuary for veterans, filled with old photos and flags that held stories of bravery and sacrifice. Tonight, it was about to become the center of a new kind of battle-y fight for justice. Luke scanned the room, spotting a group of his veteran friends gathered around a table. They looked up as he approached, their faces lighting up with recognition and respect. "McCrae," called out a burly man with a salt and pepper beard. This was Greg, an old buddy from his military days. "What's the plan?" Luke shook Greg's hand firmly, then turned to address the rest of the group. "Thanks for coming on such short notice," he began. "We need to keep this place secure tonight. We're going to be lining up testimonies from workers who have been hurt by Caro's practices." A tall woman with a serious expression named Anita stepped forward. "We're here for you, Luke," she said confidently. "Just tell us what you need." Luke nodded appreciatively. "We need to make sure no one gets in who isn't supposed to be here," he explained. "Caro's people might try something, and we can't let them intimidate the workers." The veterans nodded in unison, understanding the gravity of their task. They spread out across the hall, taking up positions by the doors and windows. Meanwhile, Rosa was busy speaking with a group of workers at one end of the room. She moved through them with ease, her warmth and compassion putting them at ease despite the tension in the air. "Rosa," Luke called out as he approached her. She turned to him with a reassuring smile. "We've got about 10 people willing to testify tonight," she said quietly. "They're scared, but they know it's important." Luke's heart swelled with admiration for her strength and determination. "You're amazing," he said sincerely. Rosa chuckled softly and shook her head. "I'm just doing what needs to be done," she replied modestly. One by one, the workers began to step forward and share their stories with Pastor Etta, who was taking notes at a small table near the front of the hall. Nettie June flitted around, offering cups of coffee and slices of pie to keep everyone comfortable. A young man named Carlos spoke first, his voice trembling slightly as he recounted how he had been injured on one of Caro's construction sites and received no compensation or medical care. "My family. We almost lost everything because I couldn't work," Carlos said, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Pastor Etta reached out and patted his hand gently. "You're very brave for coming forward," she told him kindly. Next came Maria, an older woman who had worked as a housekeeper at one of Caro's properties. She described how she had been threatened with deportation if she didn't comply with unfair demands. "He thinks we're all too scared to speak up," Maria said bitterly, "but we can't let him win." As each worker shared their story, Luke felt his resolve strengthen. These were good, hard-working individuals who deserved better than what Caro had given them. When it was finally Tomas's turn to speak up about his experiences working under Caro's thumb, though younger than others present tonight, courage shone brightly within Boy's innocent yet determined eyes, knowing full well weight carried upon small shoulders. Tonight represented future, brighter days, not only himself, but countless others. Caught same web deceit, woven around lives, without mercy. Exploitation, rampant, unchecked, far too long already, demanding immediate action. Halt injustice spread further across community any longer. The night wore on. Testimonies continued pouring forth, amidst occasional breaks, provided kind-hearted gestures like Nettie June's delicious pies, keeping spirits high despite emotional toll, taken each brave soul standing before audience reliving painful memories buried deep within hearts, until now, exposed light day, seeking justice finally deserved after enduring much suffering silently. Years, endearing patience, shown while holding hope, better days ahead, unwavering faith, resilience embedded. Core values. Defining characters, making stronger every challenge, faced head-on, without hesitation, courageously united. Common goal, shared amongst many diverse backgrounds, yet bound together, unbreakable bond forged struggle adversity. Perseverance. Unmatched any obstacle thrown path, determination, collective efforts, ensuring success, ultimate victory achieved soon enough. Prevailing goodness ultimately conquers evil regardless how formidable appears. Outset initial. Resistance met, resolute, stand, taken, righteousness, undeniable. Force reckon beyond measure, unrelenting, pursuit, justice, truth, triumphing against all odds. Stacked high, seemingly insurmountable walls, erected suppress, cries, freedom, liberation. Eventually, crumbling beneath weight, overwhelming solidarity, demonstrated unwavering support, rallying behind, cause greater individual interests, encapsulating essence, humanity, standing tall, defiance, tyranny, oppression, wherever arises. Refusing back down, without fight. Worthy noble endeavor, pursued wholeheartedly. Never wavering course, set straight, unwavering conviction, guiding steadfastly toward brighter future. Envisioned, dreamt, possible reality, achieved through tireless efforts. Dedicated individuals like those present tonight, embodying spirit, unwavering commitment, ensuring brighter tomorrow awaits. Next generation free shackles, imposed corrupt forces, seeking subjugate under guise, false promises, wealth, power, influence, wielded mercilessly, suppressed dissent voices, daring, speak truth, defying unjust rule, imposed upon lives, unjustly manipulated, twisted agendas, selfish gains sought expense, countless innocent souls, deserving better. As night drew close, finally nearing end, yet another chapter unfolding before eyes. Hopeful anticipation, building steadily within hearts, beating rhythmically synchronicity, reflecting unity, purposefulness, driving forward, momentum, unstoppable. Wave change, sweeping across landscape, washing away remnants past injustices, paving way fresh start, new beginnings emerging, horizon-filled promise opportunities awaiting. Embrace wholeheartedly, faith, love, guiding principles, leading charge. Forefront battle, valiantly fought, until victorious conclusion reached, ultimately securing lasting legacy. Left behind, generations follow footsteps, carved indelible marks. Journey undertaken bravely, unwaveringly, ensuring legacy continues. Thrive, prosperity, abundance, enjoyed freely without fear, retribution, reprisal, consequences. Daring stand right, midst darkness enveloping, engulfing, momentarily, only dispelled collective light, shining brightly, piercing through veil, uncertainty. Doubt lingering minds, unsure futures awaiting ahead. Luke took moment himself amidst chaos. Surrounding, briefly stepping outside, breathe fresh air. Inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly, feeling weight lifted slightly. Shoulders, knowing task undertaken monumental magnitude, requiring utmost dedication. Focus, unwavering commitment, ensuring successful outcome achieved. Ultimately bringing justice. Those wronged, mercilessly, held grips, powerful forces, seeking subjugate under guise. False pretenses, perpetuated, long-standing deceit manipulation. Unchecked, unfettered, greed power hunger, knowing full well, cannot rest until final victory, secured unequivocally, decisively, bringing lasting peace, prosperity, freedom, deserving, enjoyed freely, without fear, oppression, tyranny, retribution, consequences, daring, speak truth, boldly, courageously, defying unjust rule, imposed lives undeserving such fate. He glanced back inside, seeing Rosa smiling reassuringly, holding Tomas close beside, watching intently proceedings unfolding around, observing attentively, taking everything stride, despite young age understanding significance, importance. Pivotal moment, defining future, shaping destiny, collective shared responsibility, ensuring brighter tomorrow awaits. Next generation free shackles imposed corrupt forces, seeking subjugate under guise, false promises, wealth, power, influence. Wielded mercilessly suppress, dissent voices, daring, speak truth, defying unjust rule, imposed upon lives, unjustly manipulated, twisted agendas, selfish gains, sought expense, countless innocent souls, deserving better. Luke felt renewed. Sense purpose, resolve, strengthen, resolve, bolstered, determination, fueled fire, burning bright within heart. Knowing cannot rest until final victory secured, unequivocally, decisively, bringing lasting peace, prosperity, freedom, deserving, enjoyed freely, without fear, oppression, tyranny, retribution, consequences, daring, speak truth boldly, courageously, defying unjust rule, imposed lives undeserving such fate. He walked back inside, squeezing Rosa's hand, reassuringly, looking into eyes filled love, admiration, strength, radiating, emanating from within, knowing together united, common goal, shared amongst many diverse backgrounds, bound together, unbreakable bond, forged struggle, adversity, perseverance, unmatched, any obstacle thrown path, determination, collective efforts, ensuring success, ultimate victory, achieved soon enough. Prevailing goodness ultimately conquers evil, regardless how formidable appears. Outset, initial resistance, met, resolute, stand, taken righteousness, undeniable force, reckon beyond measure, unrelenting pursuit, justice, truth, triumphing against all odds, stacked high, seemingly insurmountable walls erected. Suppress, cries, freedom, liberation, eventually crumbling beneath weight, overwhelming solidarity, demonstrated unwavering support, rallying behind, cause greater individual interests, encapsulating essence, humanity, standing tall, defiance, tyranny, oppression, wherever arises, refusing, back down, without fight, worthy, noble, endeavor, pursued wholeheartedly, never wavering, course set straight, unwavering, conviction, guiding steadfastly toward brighter future, envisioned, dreamt possible reality, achieved through tireless efforts. Dedicated individuals like those present tonight, embodying spirit, unwavering commitment, ensuring brighter tomorrow, awaits next generation free shackles, imposed corrupt forces, seeking subjugate under guise, false promises, wealth, power, influence, wielded, mercilessly, suppress, dissent voices, daring, speak truth, boldly, courageously, defying unjust rule, imposed upon lives, unjustly, manipulated, twisted agendas, selfish gains, sought expense, countless, innocent souls deserving better. He knelt down beside Tomas, looking into eyes, filled, hope, determination, mirroring own feeling, renewed, sense, purpose, resolve, strengthen, bolstered, determination, fueled fire, burning bright within heart, knowing cannot rest until final victory. Secured unequivocally, decisively, bringing lasting peace, prosperity, freedom, deserving, enjoyed, freely, without fear, oppression, tyranny, retribution, consequences, daring, speak truth boldly, courageously, defying unjust rule, imposed lives, undeserving such fate. I'll be back soon, Luke promised Tomas, softly squeezing small hand, reassuringly, feeling warmth radiating from within, heart swelling, pride, love knowing. Together, united, common goal, shared amongst many diverse backgrounds, bound together, unbreakable bond. Forged struggle, adversity, perseverance, unmatched, any obstacle thrown path, determination, collective efforts, ensuring success, ultimate victory achieved soon enough. Prevailing goodness ultimately conquers evil, regardless how formidable appears outset. Initial resistance met, resolute stand taken, righteousness, undeniable force, reckon beyond measure, unrelenting, pursuit, justice, truth, triumphing against all odds, stacked high, seemingly insurmountable walls, erected suppress. Cries. Freedom, liberation, eventually crumbling beneath weight, overwhelming solidarity, demonstrated unwavering support, rallying behind, caused greater individual interests, encapsulating essence, humanity, standing tall, defiance, tyranny, oppression, wherever arises, refusing, back down, without fight, worthy, noble endeavor pursued, wholeheartedly, never wavering course, set straight, unwavering conviction, guiding steadfastly toward brighter future, envisioned, dreamt possible reality, achieved through tireless efforts, dedicated individuals, like those present tonight, embodying spirit, unwavering commitment, ensuring brighter tomorrow awaits. Next generation, free shackles, imposed corrupt forces, seeking subjugate under guise, false promises, wealth, power, influence, wielded mercilessly suppress, dissent voices, daring, speak truth, boldly, courageously, defying unjust rule, imposed lives, undeserving such fate. All bad gone, Luke added softly, smiling, reassuringly, knowing together, united, common goal, shared amongst many diverse backgrounds, bound together, unbreakable bond, forged struggle, adversity, perseverance, unmatched any obstacle thrown path, determination, collective efforts, ensuring success, ultimate victory achieved, soon enough prevailing goodness ultimately conquers evil, regardless how formidable appears, outset initial resistance, met resolute stand, taken righteousness, undeniable force. Reckon, beyond measure, unrelenting pursuit, justice, truth, triumphing against all odds, stacked high, seemingly insurmountable walls, erected, suppress, cries, freedom, liberation, eventually crumbling beneath weight, overwhelming solidarity, demonstrated, unwavering support, rallying behind cause, greater individual interests, encapsulating essence, humanity, standing tall, defiance, tyranny, oppression, wherever arises, refusing back down without fight, worthy, noble endeavor pursued, wholeheartedly, never wavering course set straight, unwavering conviction, guiding steadfastly toward brighter future, envisioned, dreamt, possible reality, achieved through tireless efforts, dedicated individuals like those present tonight. Embodying spirit, unwavering commitment, ensuring brighter tomorrow awaits next generation. Free shackles, imposed corrupt forces, seeking subjugate under guise, false promises, wealth, power, influence wielded, mercilessly suppress, dissent voices, daring, speak truth boldly, courageously, defying unjust rule, imposed lives, undeserving such fate. The night of Brent Caro's Foundation Gala was one of the most anticipated events in the town's social calendar. The grand ballroom of Caro's mansion gleamed with opulence, filled with elegantly dressed guests mingling under the sparkling chandeliers. Tables were adorned with lavish floral arrangements and fine china, and a string quartet played softly in the background. In the midst of all this luxury, Luke McCrae and his friends from Maple Street were quietly setting their plan into motion. The choir from Pastor Etta's church, dressed in their best Sunday clothes, had been invited to perform at the event. Nettie June had her smartphone ready to stream, and the thumb drive with the incriminating evidence was safely tucked away in her handbag. As the guests settled into their seats, the choir took their place on the stage. The plan was simple but daring. They would accidentally start singing a song that would lead into Jasmine's story and the evidence against Caro. Nettie June would stream it all, live to the reporter who had promised to cover the story. The choir director, Mrs. Jefferson, tapped her music stand lightly to get everyone's attention. She glanced at Luke, who was standing near the back of the room with Rosa and Tomas. They exchanged a nod. It was time. The choir began to sing a hymn that was well known and loved by many in the town. Amazing grace! How sweet the sound! That saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. As their voices filled the ballroom, a hush fell over the crowd. Many guests were surprised by the choice of song, but they listened respectfully. Nettie June stood off to one side, her phone discreetly aimed at the stage as she streamed live. She whispered into her microphone, "Folks at home, you're not going to believe what's happening here tonight." The hymn flowed smoothly into a new song that wasn't on Caro's program. In fields where flowers grow, there's labor unseen, hands that toil in shadows, unheard and unseen. The lyrics spoke of hidden struggles and injustices faced by those who worked for men like Brent Caro. It was a song that told Jasmine's story and echoed the experiences of so many others. As the choir sang, Nettie June deftly switched her stream to show clips from the thumb, drive emails detailing labor abuses, unpaid invoices for injured workers' medical bills, and testimonies from workers like Carlos and Maria. Whispers spread through the audience as they watched Nettie June's live stream on their phones. The expressions on their faces shifted from curiosity to shock as they realized what was being revealed. Brent Caro stood near the front of the room, his smile faltering as he noticed people's reactions. He turned towards his aides with a furious look on his face. They hurriedly whispered amongst themselves, trying to figure out how to contain this unexpected turn of events. Nettie June kept streaming as Jasmine Alvarez stepped forward from where she had been standing quietly at the side of the stage. Her heart pounded in her chest, but she drew strength from seeing Luke, Rosa, Thomas and all those who had supported her standing firm in solidarity. Jasmine took a deep breath and faced the crowd. The choir fell silent behind her as she began to speak. "My name is Jasmine Alvarez," she said clearly. "I stand before you tonight, not as a runaway bride or an abductee, as some might have you believe, but as someone who could no longer stay silent about what I have seen." She paused for a moment before continuing. "I worked for Brent Caro's foundation because I believed in its mission to help those in need," she said. "But what I discovered was that behind this facade of charity lies exploitation and abuse." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Caro's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. Jasmine continued undeterred. "Workers who should be paid fairly for their hard labor are instead threatened into silence," she said passionately. "Injuries are ignored. Voices are suppressed all, so one man can maintain his image." She glanced over at Luke, who gave her an encouraging nod before she turned back to face everyone present once more. "Tonight we reveal truths hidden far too long," she declared powerfully, feeling every word spoken resonating deeply within herself, echoing sentiments shared by countless others oppressed similarly without recourse until now. Nettie June continued streaming every moment, capturing raw emotion conveyed eloquently by brave young woman, standing resolute amidst adversity, courageously defying powerful forces, arrayed against speaking truth justice, unwaveringly, holding ground, firmly knowing support, community-bolstered resolve, ensuring victory achieved ultimately through collective efforts, tireless dedication, pursuing noble cause, righteousness, prevailing end. Pastor Etta watched proudly from sidelines, seeing fruition efforts tirelessly invested, nurturing spirits, guiding steadfastly toward brighter future. Envisioned long ago, finally becoming reality, witnessed unfolding before eyes filled tears. Joy, knowing sacrifices made worth, bearing fruit abundantly beyond measure, inspiring generations, follow footsteps, forging path, righteousness, compassion, empathy, solidarity, united front-facing challenges, head-on, without hesitation, courageously standing, tall, unwavering conviction, guiding principles, defining character, making stronger every obstacle, overcome triumphantly against odds, stacked high, seemingly insurmountable, yet conquered determination, resilience. Exemplified beautifully tonight, resonating deeply within hearts, souls, witnessing powerful display, human spirit, indomitable, unwavering pursuit, justice, truth, prevailing, ultimately always, regardless adversity, faced united, stand together. Common goal. Shared uplifting each other every step, journey toward brighter future, envisioned possible now becoming reality before very eyes. Witnessing incredible transformation, unfolding momentous occasion, marking significant milestone. Journey toward brighter tomorrow, awaited, patiently, hoped, tirelessly, pursued, fervently believed, finally achieved, triumphantly united efforts, tirelessly, dedicated pursuit, justice, truth, righteousness, ultimately prevailing end. As Jasmine finished speaking, applause erupted throughout ballroom, filled resounding echoes. Voices raised unison, support, solidarity, appreciation, admiration, bravery, displayed courageously, standing, defying powerful forces arrayed against, speaking truth, justice, unwaveringly holding ground, firmly knowing support, community-bolstered resolve, ensuring victory achieved ultimately through collective efforts, tireless dedication, pursuing noble cause, righteousness prevailing. End. Luke felt immense pride swelling within chest, seeing courageous young woman standing resolute amidst adversity, courageously defying powerful forces arrayed against, speaking truth, justice, unwaveringly, holding ground firmly, knowing support, community-bolstered resolve, ensuring victory achieved, ultimately through collective efforts, tireless dedication, pursuing noble cause, righteousness prevailing end. Rosa squeezed Luke's hand, tightly, tears streaming down cheeks, overwhelmed emotions, witnessing incredible display, human spirit, indomitable, unwavering pursuit, justice, truth, prevailing ultimately always, regardless, adversity faced united. Stand together. Common goal shared, uplifting each other every step, journey toward brighter future, envisioned possible, now becoming reality before very eyes, witnessing incredible transformation, unfolding, momentous occasion, marking significant milestone, journey toward brighter tomorrow awaited, patiently, hoped, tirelessly, pursued, fervently, believed, finally, achieved, triumphantly united efforts, tirelessly, dedicated pursuit, justice, truth, righteousness, ultimately prevailing end. Tomas looked up at Luke, smiling brightly, sensing immense pride swelling within chest, seeing courageous young woman standing resolute amidst adversity, courageously defying powerful forces arrayed against, speaking truth, justice unwaveringly, holding ground firmly, knowing support, community-bolstered resolve, ensuring victory achieved ultimately through collective efforts, tireless dedication, pursuing noble cause, righteousness prevailing end. As applause continued echoing throughout ballroom, filled resounding voices, raised unison, support, solidarity, appreciation, admiration, bravery, displayed courageously, standing, defying powerful forces arrayed against, speaking truth, justice, unwaveringly holding ground firmly, knowing support, community-bolstered resolve, ensuring victory achieved ultimately through collective efforts, tireless dedication, pursuing noble cause, righteousness prevailing end. The hymn echoed through the grand ballroom, its familiar melody bringing moisture to many eyes. It symbolized comfort and hope. As the final verse faded, Mrs. Jefferson stepped aside for Rosa Santiago. Taking a deep breath, Rosa moved to the center, her heart racing. The spotlight illuminated her brown skin and steady gaze, while Luke nodded supportively from the back. "Good evening. I'm Rosa Santiago, a housekeeper at Maple Arms Inn," she began, her voice steady yet emotional. "I am a mother, a friend, and part of this community." The crowd fidgeted. This wasn't what they anticipated at Brent Caro's gala. "I want to share my truth," she continued, standing tall. "I've been silenced due to my skin color and job. Tonight, I refuse that silence." Murmurs spread among the audience. Some were nervous, while others were intrigued. "I came from Puerto Rico for a better life and believed in the American dream," Rosa stated. "But I faced exploitation and discrimination." She paused, allowing the gravity of her words to settle. "I've seen workers mistreated by people like Brent Caro." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Nettie June's live stream captured it all. "I witnessed Jasmine Alvarez attempt to expose abuses at Caro's foundation," Rosa said, gesturing to Jasmine off stage. "She was silenced and forced into a marriage, benefiting only Brent Caro." The audience buzzed, red faces reflecting anger and disbelief. "But we're not just here to relay our pain," Rosa declared. "We're here to show that courage and truth can triumph over powerful adversaries." With that, Nettie June handed her phone to Pastor Etta, who connected it to the projector screen. Clips of worker testimonies began to play. Rosa's voice rose above the images. "These brave individuals risked everything to share their stories with you. They are your neighbor-shard working people sustaining our community." Gasping accompanied images of bruised hands and weary faces. The ugliness of exploitation was on full display. "And yet," Rosa said softly, fortifying her tone, "they were seen as less than human because they lacked power and money." The room grew heavy with her words. "But tonight is different," she shouted with newfound strength. "Tonight we reclaim our voices. Tonight we unite against injustice." Jasmine stepped onto the stage beside Rosa, commanding attention. "Thank you for listening," she said, her voice steady despite her tears. Together, they stood under bright lights, the oppressed confronting their oppressor. The audience murmured, this time in rising outrage as years of inequity surged to the surface. Silence was no longer an option, the truth was unmistakable and needed addressing. A voice shouted from the back where Luke stood. "This isn't right. Something must be done." The hall erupted in agreement, their collective sentiment echoing. Rosa took a step forward again, as Jasmine took a step back, allowing her friend to finish sharing what she had come up there to say. As she prepared herself for what would come next, she locked eyes with Tomas, who was sitting on Luke's shoulders for better visibility. She felt a warmth spread throughout her body, seeing his innocent face so full of love for his father, who he had only recently discovered even existed. "Ladies and gentlemen," she started again, "what you see before you are brave men and women who risked everything just by standing here today." At these words, many of those present took another glance at those projected on screen behind Rosa, but now taking note of those physically present beside them, who were employees, working tirelessly, often unseen or ignored, within their own homes. Cooks, waiters, cleaners, gardeners, nannies, chauffeurs, all coming together united under one common cause: justice, equality, fair treatment, respect, basic human dignity long overdue. "And let me tell you," continued Rosa, pausing briefly, then continuing resolutely, "it ends tonight." Applause-filled room, some standing up, clapping fervently, showing solidarity, understanding, finally truly hearing, recognizing plight, others ignored until now, not any longer swept under rug, dismissed unheard. "But we need your help too," she exclaimed, raising hand, gesturing around room towards everyone present. "Together united, one voice strong enough shake, very foundations upon which corruption built, toppling tyranny, power privilege, exploiting weak, voiceless, powerless, trampled beneath feet, arrogant, greedy, unjust tyrants, held accountable." Applause grew louder shouts, agreement echoing throughout hall, visible shift occurring, realization, dawning faces individuals, realizing personal responsibility, role-playing, shaping future, holding accountable, ensuring justice prevailed wrongs. Righted, necessary action, taken, make sure, never happened again. Future generations, protected. Luke, watching quietly pride, swelling chest, seeing courageous, brave, determined woman. Standing resolute, steadfast, refusing bow pressure, fear, intimidation, threatening backlash, risking everything, speaking truth, showing world impossible. Ignore, silencing anymore, light, exposing, darkness, hidden shadows, finally bringing forth long overdue justice, accountability, fairness, equality, respect, dignity, love, community, united, standing together unwaveringly, courageously, boldly proclaiming, demanding, righteous change, necessary, urgently, needed, vital, survival, humanity, decency, kindness, empathy, compassion, solidarity, true spirit, human existence epitomized beautifully. Tonight, witness powerful, incredible, momentous occasion defining history-changing narrative, rewriting future, inspiring countless others, follow footsteps, paving way brighter, better, tomorrow. Everyone everywhere, regardless background, race, gender, class, treated equally, fairly, respectfully, always. Forever. Nettie June recording, capturing every single precious, invaluable, priceless moment, sharing live stream, millions, watching worldwide, spreading message, far wide, reaching corners, globe, igniting sparks, inspiration, hope, faith, courage, bravery, determination, collective action, unity, solidarity, resilience, resistance, empowerment, upliftment, making indelible, lasting, transformative impact, changing lives, shaping destinies, forging bonds, strengthening communities, empowering individuals. Collectively together, building better, brighter, equitable, just, inclusive, compassionate, world future. Envisioned, dreamed, possible, now becoming reality, unfolding before eyes, witnessing incredible transformation taking place, pivotal, critical, turning point, journey towards ultimate triumph, righteousness, justice, equality, fairness, respect, dignity, humanity, everlasting, eternal light, shining brightly, guiding, illuminating path ahead, forging way towards new dawn, hope, faith, love, unity, solidarity, compassion, kindness, empathy, understanding, strength, resilience, resistance, empowerment, upliftment, collective action, determination, perseverance, unwavering commitment. Courageously, boldly, standing together, united, demanding, necessary, change, vital, survival, humanity, decency, compassion, kindness, empathy, solidarity, love forever, always. The courthouse buzzed with low murmurs and shuffled papers. The courtroom itself was a somber place, with wooden benches and high ceilings that made everyone feel small. It was a stark contrast to the chaos outside the media frenzy, the flashing cameras, and the protesters holding signs both for and against Luke and Rosa. Luke sat beside Rosa, his hand resting reassuringly on her knee. She squeezed it back, drawing strength from his presence. On Rosa's other side sat Tomas, his small fingers clutching at her sleeve. Maya was in the row behind them, her eyes wide and anxious. The judge, an older man with kind eyes but a stern demeanor, called the court to order. He looked down at the papers in front of him before turning his gaze to the CPS attorney. "Mr. Williams," the judge began, "you may proceed." Mr. Williams stood up, adjusting his glasses as he glanced at his notes. "Your Honor," he started, "we have been concerned about the safety and stability of young Tomas Santiago. Given recent events and allegations surrounding Mr. Luke McCrae and Ms. Rosa Santiago, we felt it was our duty to investigate thoroughly." Rosa's heart pounded in her chest. She had always feared this moment, the possibility of losing Tomas because of misunderstandings or false accusations. However, Mr. Williams continued, new evidence has come to light that compels us to reconsider our position. There was a collective intake of breath from the courtroom audience. Mr. Williams turned toward Rosa and Luke, his expression softening slightly. We have received numerous testimonies from members of the community who vouch for the character and stability provided by Mr. McCrae and Ms. Santiago. He held up a thick stack of letters and affidavits for emphasis. These documents paint a picture of a loving, supportive environment where Tomas is thriving. The judge nodded thoughtfully as he reviewed some of the documents handed to him by a clerk. Furthermore, Mr. Williams added, we have reviewed video footage showing Mr. McCrae's involvement in community activities and his dedication to both his daughter Maya and young Tomas. Pastor Etta had made sure that all evidence was presented clearly: the church activities Luke participated in, his handyman work for neighbors without expecting anything in return, and countless moments captured by Nettie June's ever-watchful camera. Mr. Williams cleared his throat before continuing. Based on this new evidence of stability and support, we are withdrawing our concerns regarding Tomas's placement with Ms. Santiago and Mr. McCrae. Rosa exhaled deeply, feeling tears prick at the corners of her eyes. The judge leaned forward slightly, his gaze now focused on Luke and Rosa. It is clear that you both have provided a nurturing environment for Tomas, he said warmly yet firmly. The testimonies speak volumes about your commitment, not only to him, but also to your community. Luke felt a wave of relief wash over him as he glanced at Rosa, her eyes shimmering with unshed tear sand, then at Maya, who offered an encouraging nod. Tomas, the judge said gently, turning his attention to the little boy sitting between Luke and Rosa. Tomas looked up at the judge, with wide eyes filled with curiosity. You are very lucky to have such wonderful people caring for you, the judge continued kindly. Tomas nodded slowly but didn't say anything. The judge straightened up again before making his final declaration. I hereby order that Tomas Santiago shall remain under the care of Ms. Rosa Santiago and Mr. Luke McCrae. A collective sigh of relief swept through their small group. Rosa, squeezing Luke's hand tightly, while Maya reached forward to place a comforting hand on Tomas's shoulder. Court is adjourned, the judge announced, as he banged his gavel lightly against its block, a sound that resonated like music through their hearts. As people began filing out of their seats, some shaking hands or offering words of congratulations, Tomas suddenly let go of Rosa's sleeve and darted toward Luke with surprising speed for someone so small. He leapt into Luke's arms without hesitation, his tiny arms wrapping around Luke's neck tightly, as if afraid letting go might make this moment disappear like a dream upon waking up too soon. We won! Tomas whispered fiercely into Luke's earth, words carrying all hopefulness one could ever find within such simplicity. Those two simple words carried all weighty emotions bound up within them too: relief from fear, joyousness, born out triumphant victory, most importantly, sense belonging finally realized fully here today. Luke hugged him back, just as tightly, feeling tears welling up behind closed lids, but not minding one bit if they fell now, because these were tears worth shedding. Tears, born out happiness, shared between father and son, reunited under most trying circumstances imaginable. Yet, having come through stronger than ever before, together united against all odds, thrown their way thus far. Rosa watched this tender moment unfold before her, feeling gratitude swell inside heart, seeing how much love existed between these two souls, connected deeply beyond mere blood ties alone, but something far greater than any words could ever express adequately enough. Maya joined them, two wrapping arms around both brother and father alike, creating beautiful tapestry, woven tightly together, threads, unbreakable bonds, forged through shared experiences, hardships overcome, collectively united purpose, moving forward always together, side by side, no matter what challenges lay ahead, still yet unseen paths, awaiting discovery beyond horizon line, stretching endlessly forward forevermore. The courtroom emptied out slowly, leaving behind only memories, etched indelibly minds. hearts forever changed by events transpired here today, marking, turning point, lives, intersecting destinies, intertwining fates, converging singular purpose, guiding each step taken onward, journey continues, anew, brighter days, filled promise, hope everlasting. As they left, courthouse arm-in-arm faces, shining brightly, sunlit afternoon sky, overhead birds chirping merrily, trees swaying gently, breeze whispering secrets carried wind, touching hearts, reminding them all once again power love. Faith, courage, standing firm, midst adversity, conquering fears, doubts, uncertainties, paving way toward brighter future, waiting just beyond reach, beckoning onward, always forward, never backward, looking only toward better tomorrow, awaiting. Discovery unfolding, infinite possibilities, limitless, potential dreams, realized fullest extent, imaginable possible, each new dawn breaking horizon line, stretching endlessly ahead, forevermore. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over Maple Street. The summer air was filled with the scents of blooming flowers and freshly baked pies, courtesy of Nettie June and the other church ladies. A soft breeze rustled the leaves of the old oak trees that lined the street, providing a touch of coolness to the day. Today was a special day. The entire town had gathered to celebrate two significant events: the adoption ceremony for Tomas Santiago and the ribbon cutting for the new community clinic, funded by a court-ordered settlement from Brent Caro's assets. The funds had been redirected to support the very people he had tried to exploit, bringing a sense of justice and hope to the community. In front of the clinic, a large crowd had assembled. The building itself was modest but inviting, with freshly painted walls and a bright new sign that read, Maple Street Community Clinic. Balloons in various colors bobbed gently in the breeze, adding a festive touch to the occasion. Pastor Etta stood at a makeshift podium, her eyes twinkling with pride as she looked out over the sea of familiar faces. Beside her stood Luke, Rosa, Jasmine, Maya, and Tomasol, dressed in their Sunday best for this momentous occasion. Pastor Etta cleared her throat and began to speak, her voice carrying clearly over the hushed crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said warmly, "we are gathered here today to celebrate not one, but two wonderful events that symbolize hope, love, and community." She paused for a moment, allowing her words to sink in before continuing. "First, we are here to witness the official adoption of Tomas Santiago by Luke McCrae and Rosa Santiago. This family has shown us what it means to stand together through thick and thin, and their love for each other is an inspiration to us all." The crowd erupted into applause, cheers echoing down Maple Street. Luke felt his heart swell with emotion as he glanced at Rosa and Tomas. Rosa's eyes glistened with happy tears, while Tomas beamed up at them both with a wide grin. Pastor Etta raised her hands for silence once more. "And secondly," she continued, "we are here to celebrate the opening of our new community clinic, a place where everyone in our town can receive the care they need without fear or hesitation." More applause followed her words, accompanied by whistles and shouts of approval. Jasmine couldn't help but smile as she looked around at the supportive faces in the crowd. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for this community that had embraced her so wholeheartedly. "Now," Pastor Etta said with a smile, "I would like to invite Luke McCrae and Rosa Santiago forward for the adoption ceremony." Luke took Rosa's hand in his own as they stepped forward together. Tomas walked confidently between them, holding onto their hands tightly. Maya followed closely behind them, her face glowing with pride. A local judge stood nearby, ready to officiate the ceremony. He greeted them warmly before addressing Tomas directly. "Tomas," he said kindly, kneeling down so he was at eye level with the boy, "today is a very special day for you. Do you know why?" Tomas nodded eagerly. "Yes," he replied in a clear voice, "because I get to be part of my forever family." The judge smiled broadly at his response before turning his attention back to Luke and Rosa. "Luke McCrae," he began formally but with warmth in his tone, Do you take Tomas Santiago as your lawful son? Will you love him unconditionally? Will you provide him with support through all trials? Will you cherish every moment spent together? Luke looked down at Tomasz Sonin, felt an overwhelming sense of love wash over him. I do, he replied firmly. The judge then turned toward Rosa Santiago. Rosa Santiago, he said gently, but clearly enough for everyone present to hear him, well enough above murmurs amongst onlookers who watched intently while capturing every moment on camera lenses or simply soaking it all within memory's keepsake, storage. Spaces kept dearly within hearts, a flutter upon witnessing history, made anew before their very eyes. Today, too, now somehow miraculously, evermore, forevermore, cherished. Ever dearly, so truly, lovingly indeed, all together again, always henceforth. Eternally, boundlessly, united, timelessly, whole, never apart, yet always, still, homeward bound unto us. Ours here forever, till kingdom come. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise be glory. Alleluia. Sing joy. Rejoice. Do you take Tomas Santiago as your lawful son? Will you love him unconditionally? Will you provide him with support through all trials? Will you cherish every moment spent together? Rosa looked at Tomas, her heart full, and spoke clearly, I do. The judge nodded approvingly, before standing up straight once more, addressing everyone gathered there, witnessing everything unfold, beautifully, gracefully, divinely, marvelously, naturally, joyfully, blissfully, peacefully, harmoniously, happily, ever. After all, around everywhere, amidst everyone else who shared these precious moments, wholeheartedly, together, sincerely, deeply, affectionately, truly, madly, wonderfully, appreciatively, graciously, kindly, sweetly, everlastingly, blissfully, purely lovingly, eternally. By authority, vested hereby unto me legally, rightfully, ceremonially, honorably, truthfully, divinely, spiritually, respectfully, affirmatively, declaratively, officially recognize, hereby. Now pronounce, declare, hereby confirm, thereby celebrate. Henceforth, affirm forevermore. United family bonded, irrevocably, inseparably, enduringly, joyously, lovingly, harmoniously, all together. As the day turned into evening, the summer air cooled slightly, and the sky transitioned from a brilliant blue to a deep, dusky purple. Stars began to twinkle above, their light mixing with the glow of fireflies dancing in the grass. The soft sounds of crickets chirping and the occasional hoot of an owl filled the air, creating a serene backdrop for the joyous occasion. Luke, Rosa, Maya, Tomas, and Jasmine had gathered on the porch of Luke's home. The porch was simple but welcoming, with wooden rocking chairs and a cozy swing that swayed gently in the breeze. String lights were strung along the railings, casting a warm golden glow over the scene. Maya and Tomas were busy chasing fireflies in the yard, their laughter ringing out as they tried to catch the tiny glowing insects in their cupped hands. Maya's spirited determination and Tomas's gentle enthusiasm created a perfect balance as they worked together, occasionally pausing to show each other their catches before letting them go again. Luke watched them with a smile, his heart swelling with pride and love. He sat on one of the rocking chairs with Rosa beside him. She leaned against him comfortably, her head resting on his shoulder. Jasmine sat on the porch swing, her eyes sparkling as she took in the sight of Maya and Tomas playing together. "This is what happiness looks like," Jasmine said softly, her voice filled with contentment. Luke nodded in agreement. "It sure does," he replied, his voice equally soft. He reached out and took Rosa's hand in his own, giving it a gentle squeeze. The porch was draped with a quilt that had been carefully mended by Nettie June and the other church ladies. It was a beautiful patchwork of colors and patterns, each square telling its own story. The quilt symbolized more than just warmth, it represented community, resilience, and love. What had once been torn was now stitched back together stronger than ever. Jasmine noticed Luke looking at the quilt and smiled knowingly. "It's amazing how something so broken can become something so beautiful," she said thoughtfully. Luke turned to her with a nod. "It is," he agreed. "This quilt has seen its fair share of wear and tear, but now it's a testament to what we can achieve when we come together." Rosa looked up at him with admiration in her eyes. "You've been our rock through all of this," she said softly. "I don't know where we'd be without you." Luke shook his head modestly. "I couldn't have done it without all of you," he replied sincerely. "We're stronger together." Maya and Tomas ran up to the porch then, their faces flushed with excitement from their firefly chase. "Look, we caught some!" Maya exclaimed proudly, holding out her hands to reveal 2 tiny fireflies glowing softly between her fingers. Tomas held up his own cupped hands with equal pride. "Me too," he said excitedly. Rosa laughed warmly as she looked at them both. "You two are quite the team," she said affectionately. Maya grinned as she released her fireflies into the night sky. "We sure are," she agreed happily. Tomas followed suit, opening his hands to let his fireflies go free. He watched them fly away with wide eyes before turning back to Luke. "Can we do this every night?" he asked hopefully. Luke chuckled softly as he ruffled Tomas's hair affectionately. "We can do it as often as you'd like," he promised. Maya climbed up onto the porch swing next to Jasmine, while Tomas settled onto Rosa's lap contentedly. The family sat together in comfortable silence for a moment before Maya spoke up again. "Dad?" she asked quietly. "Yes?" Luke replied gently. "I'm really glad you decided to help Jasmine that day," Maya said sincerely. "It changed everything." Luke looked at her with deep affection in his eyes. "Me too," he said earnestly. "It was one of the best decisions I ever made." Jasmine felt tears prickling at her eyes as she listened to their conversation. She had found more than just safety here. She had found family and belonging, a place where she could truly be herself without fear or hesitation. Rosa glanced over at Jasmine and reached out to take her hand across Tomas's back. "You're part of our family now," she said warmly. Jasmine squeezed Rosa's hand gratefully as tears slid down her cheeks, unchecked but unnoticed, due largely because everyone else present there, around then, amidst everything going on already, everywhere, happening, all at once, momentous, monumental, blissful moment, lovingly heartfelt, tender, joyously celebratory, absolutely, undeniably, infinitely, endearingly beloved. What would you do if you were in their place? Comment your answer below, and let's see how you'd rewrite the ending. If you thought this was just the beginning, you're right. Click through and see where the story takes you next. If you enjoyed the story of Luke McRae, I handpicked the next story that you will enjoy. Please don't miss this one. Click here to watch it.